McFadden, and you're listening to The Morning Rush.
Live from the Busch Light Studios.
You're causing a major disturbance on my time.
If I'm here and you're here, doesn't that make it our time?
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station. Streaming live from hitthatline.com.
There's a lot of lions, tigers, and bears, but there ain't but one razorback. Not but one.
This is The Morning Rush.
Borderline erotic.
With Ty Richardson.
Sunshine. That's cool. I can dig it.
And Tommy Kraft.
Do I look happy?
What's wrong?
Lloyd!
The Morning Rush starts right now.
It is a What's Your Beef Wednesday here on The Morning Rush. We're going to do that at a different time today. We usually close down the show with it. We're going to do that at 8 o'clock this morning. But if any time you want to get yours in, it's 877-377-6963. I guess the small beef for me this morning is the fact that I thought we were going to get to hear, not necessarily get to see because they're not going to allow media members in, Arkansas football practice begin this Friday. Well, that has now been pushed back to August the 17th, according to the SEC. And we'll start there this morning here on The Morning Rush. 877-377-6963 is the number to call or text in. Always streaming live on hitthatline.com. Find our video stream, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. If you have a smart speaker, just say play ESPN Arkansas or on the TuneIn app as well. Make sure you're following our social media accounts at HitThatLine AR on Twitter and at HitThatLine on Facebook and Instagram. Ken McPherson talking basketball with him at 7:15. Then we're going to talk to Mike Golick Jr. of ESPN Radio at 8:45 this morning. Talk about Notre Dame, talk about Arkansas, and hopefully rescheduling that game. So kind of your initial thoughts when you saw the SEC announce that practice is going to be pushed back starting next week, August the 17th.
Mild surprise. I mean, nothing catches you off guard anymore. So this didn't floor me or surprise me, Ty. But
and I say next week, it's the following Monday,
right? Because it was supposed to have been this Friday, so they pushed it back 2 weeks to the 17th. That's a long time. If you think about it, if they'd put the pads on as scheduled, that's a long time. As we were talking about with Tom Murphy yesterday, for a 7-week camp, that's a lot of contact and a lot of hitting. I'm not sure that's the concern. I don't think that's what administrators were worried about. Is, boy, that's a lot of time to be popping pads. I think the concern is still making sure they're managing and containing the virus and they got all the safety measures and sanitizing and protocols and keeping players and staff safe. I mean, we think about player safety and not having outbreaks amongst teams. I think there's just as much concern with staff who are in their 50s and 60s and at ages that are more in the risk group for age that is concerning to administrators. So I think that's part of it, and I still think that no one really knows what's going to happen when you welcome back students, and there's, even if it's 50% of your normal student population that's on campus, there is still this great concern about the unknown of that. And we've heard from Hunter Yurachek, I don't know how much this plays into it, but they still don't want to put players through the grueling task of practice. I almost said two-a-days. They don't have two-a-days, but practice.
Fall camp, yeah.
And camp in the heat of the tax and the grind it puts on you to ultimately not have a season. So I think there's a lot of things that I think meld into this pot of decision to push this back. And 2 more weeks when you got 7 to play a game kind of keeps you closer to the schedule you would have had. I think this ultimately lines up with where you would be on a timeline in relation to September 26th to what you would normally be to, say, a September 5th start date, which would have put you starting this Friday.
We've talked about the pressures that have faced athletic directors and administration, but how about having the pressure of being on the medical guidance task force and the different questions that you're probably asked, the different expectations that people probably have with your decisions? I mean, that's a position, that is a job that I'll tell you what, I do not want right now. I mean, that is a difficult thing. Again, we talk about kind of the school side of things, but as far as the medical side goes and trying to predict all this, it seems even more difficult.
Well, and if you're in that spot, isn't it easier just to err on the side of caution? I mean, if you're trying to make the decision from a medical standpoint, not a Not a football, not a financial, not any of those considerations that people like Joseph Steinmetz and Hunter Yurchek are trying to decide, or Greg Sankey. Probably the way to go is more cautious.
Yes.
And that's a tough. You're right. That's an absolutely difficult spot to be because you're going to take away an opportunity for someone that might be their only spot, their only opportunity, just based on the timing. You say, well, there's always next year. Well, is there? I mean, you think there is. Perhaps there is. But that's just not always the way it is.
And I think that's an excellent point. People pointed out, oh, you can just delay this year or whatever. Well, we don't know what's going to happen in the next year. I'm not trying to scare anyone or anything, but I'm just talking about from the standpoint that it seemed like people were just, for whatever reason, say, I'll just delay it. It's whatever. It's fine. It's whatever. But again, there are a lot of things, as many of you know, that can change over the course of 1 year. So that's, I think, a flawed line of thinking when it comes to that. So the question now becomes, hey, so what can they do between now and August 17th? Well, the SEC also laid that out. Between August 7th and 16th, schools are permitted to conduct up to 14 hours per week of strength and conditioning, meetings, and walkthroughs. But it doesn't look like the contact is supposed to start. And as you mentioned, I'm curious of how much a spike we'll see on college campuses when kids come back. You mentioned that you expect, or maybe not expect, but even if there was half the amount of enrollment at Arkansas, undergrad's about 28. It's gotten up to 28,000 at the U of A. If that was 14,000, there's still going to be parties, still going to be syllabus week. There's still going to be contact between multiple students. And this idea that the student athletes, not just football players, but athletes across the state in Fayetteville predominantly itself, the idea that they're just going to skip out on these as a whole, like you might have 95% of them, you might have 90% of them, but there are going to be 1 or 2, 3 or 4, 5 to 10, whatever, that decide, you know what, I've been cooped up long enough, I'm going to go do this. And you know what? I don't blame them for that. I've said that. Like, it is a difficult time to be a college-age student, not just in college, but in this age group, and to be cooped up and told you can't socialize in the most social part of your life. So this idea that it's on them and that they should get blamed for this is just plain stinking wrong.
Well, it's hard enough to be an adult and not do that. I mean, if we see it in movies and we hear about it in life, they put you in solitary confinement if you're in prison, right, as a punishment to take away what? Why do they put you in solitary confinement?
Communication.
Socialization. It's a punishment. So, I mean, I don't want to say we've all been put in solitary confinement, but it's kind of a smaller version of that, what's gone on the last 4 months. I mean, but the point is you can't expect people of all ages, but particularly 18 to 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds, to go forever. Now, let's just say that we live in a utopian world and every student athlete's going to avoid parties and follow the rules, but the rules say you go to class, right? The rules still say even if you do the social, you're not going to avoid it on a campus because even if there's this general student population is going to be coming back, even if there were no parties and all, it's still going to be inevitable. It may not be as bad if all the parties and all the fraternization and the socialization was nil, which is not reality. You're still going to have issues. I mean, that's just what the medical facts of the last few months tell us, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, exactly right. And so when August 17th starts, until the opening game, schools are allowed 25 practices with a limit of 20 hours per week of practice time. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Unfortunately, we won't be able to actually get our eyes, most likely, on what's occurring on the practice field.
And it's 14 hours the next 2 weeks? Did I read that correctly? I think that's right.
Yeah,
for the practice time.
Yeah, the strength and conditioning. That's what I was talking about.
Right. So the next 2 weeks is 14 hours. Yeah. So all right. So we'll continue to follow this story. Football's certainly front and center here on the Morning Rush. We're brought to you by River City Bistro. We never tell you about our friends at River City this early in the show, but I want to invite you over for brunch this weekend at River City. They've been having a great time on the patio. Ty, you were there last weekend.
Sunday, yeah,
for brunch on
Sunday.
They're open on the weekends a little earlier at 10 a.m., open till 8, all the way through dinner on Saturday till 3 o'clock on Sundays. They got great breakfast selections, all your favorite lunch selections, and a great brunch menu on the weekends. It's at 7320 Rogers Avenue in the Stonewood Village Shopping Center, a great locally owned restaurant for brunch on the weekends and lunch and dinner throughout the week at River City Bistro on Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith.
Arkansas's home for the best sports talk.
This is former Arkansas quarterback Tyler Wilson, and you're listening to The Morning Rush.
If you have experience transporting frozen and refrigerated goods and want to be part of a trucking family with insurance and be home every week, you need to contact Brent Higgins Trucking. Since 1997, Brent Higgins Trucking in Mulberry has been proudly delivering to and from various areas of the United States, including but not limited to Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Brent Higgins Trucking, where you're a name, not a number. Contact them at 479-997-2366 or at BrentHigginsTrucking.com.
Did you know that you can get your car serviced or repaired without ever leaving your house? All you have to do is call Jody's Auto Service Center at 479-649-3399. Jody's will pick up your vehicle, service or repair it for you, and return it fully disinfected to your driveway. Pickup and delivery is free for jobs $75 or more. Jobs less than $75 can be picked up and returned for a $10 fee. Let Jody's Auto Service Centers handle all your service and vehicle repair needs. Call 479-649-3399. Jody's Auto Service Center.
Fresh means fresh, as in no preservatives. That's right. If it's fresh, it doesn't need to be preserved. Try Jim's 100% premium Wisconsin cheese. Fresh whole milk mozzarella, wood smoked provolone, old world style Romano and Parmesan. The freshest all-you-can-eat salad bar in town. No preservatives and fresh every time. Fresh, fast, Jim's Razorback Pizza. At the corner of Greenwood and Gary in Fort Smith.
Was your roof damaged by recent storms? Don't fall victim to out-of-town contractors and fly-by-night repairmen. Trust the local roofing professionals at Able Roofing. Call their local number, 474-0006, for a free roof inspection. Never trust something as important as the roofing system on your home to a storm chaser. Able Roofing, 474-0006, will work with your insurance company. Call now for your free roof inspection, 474-0006. Able Roofing, the hometown roofers.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging. Do you hate your current mailing machine? Is dealing with that giant company not worth the effort any longer? That's the issue we had at Dixie Digital. While looking for a better solution for our own use, we partnered with FP for mailing and mailroom solutions. We now offer access to FP's entire line of postage machines, folder inserters, software, and more. Local service with a local company. For more information, give Dixie Digital a call at 783-6600 or visit our website at dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing document innovations to the River Valley.
Head to toe, it's gotta be Gelco for hard work and the great outdoors.
With quality and price and comfort you like, and savings that you're looking for.
We've got the shoes and boots, steel toes too, outerwear and a whole lot more.
Head to toe, it's gotta be Gelco
for hard work and the great outdoors.
Tri-Hill Turf offers the highest quality turf and pest services. Hey, you say those are big words. Well, let's see. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has a company agronomist, state and nationally certified technicians, free soil testing, and they even have precision GPS guided application equipment. Now that's high tech. For over 30 years, Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has used the latest application technology, and they strive for turf and pest excellence. They are your local turf and pest experts. Call the local team at 782-0404. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest.
Do you own apartment complexes, condos, and rental property? Then you have made a great investment. Now make another great decision by calling Trinity Multifamily to help you maximize your return. Trinity Multifamily offers full-service property management, marketing, leasing, sales, and all the services to make your cash flow. Take the hassles and frustrations out of ownership and call Trinity Multifamily at 479-452-1817 or online at trinitymultifamily.com. Trinity Multifamily, your teammate in the real estate game.
Have you had someone back out of a contract and you don't know what to do? Or maybe you have a problem with your boss. It may be time to sit down with a lawyer and discuss your options. The attorneys at Kevin Hickey Law Partners are ready to give advice on your next step. Kevin Hickey Law Partners are experienced in all types of lawsuits. If you have a dispute that may involve going to court, don't just hire any lawyer. Contact Kevin Hickey Law Partners. Give them a call at 479-434-2014 in the River Valley or 479-802-6560 in Northwest Arkansas. Or check them out online at kevinhickeylaw.com.
ESPN 95.3. The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson and Tommy Kraft.
Well, let's get those nerds! 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 What are we waiting for?
Subscribe to the Morning Rush Podcast wherever podcasts are found.
Welcome back into the Morning Rush. Going to get in some quick hitting headlines coming up here this segment. Before we do, got to tell you about our friends at Kevin Hickey Law.
You know, divorce is never easy, and many times problems continue to come up months after the divorce is finalized and over. One of the most common problems you deal with following a divorce is an ex-spouse dealing with custody and visitation issues. And if you're dealing with a high conflict custody or visitation problem, you need an attorney that handles those specific types of cases. Call the attorneys at Kevin Hickey Law Partners for immediate assistance with your situation. They have handled high conflict custody cases all over Arkansas, as well as other states as well. Parent alienation, following and failing to follow the visitation schedule laid out by the courts, and flat out refusing to follow court orders are problems that Kevin Hickey and his law partners deal with day in, day out. They can help you through this situation. So if you need someone to aggressively represent you and get results, call our buddy Kevin Hickey. He can help you out. They have an office in the River Valley and in Northwest Arkansas. Get the phone numbers and get all the details about Kevin online at kevinhickeylaw.com. Hey, things are about to get better. Call our buddy Kevin Hickey. That's kevinhickeylaw.com, kevinhickeylaw.com.
We were talking about this prior to the show. The Sun Belt has announced that they're going to play 8 conference games and 4 non-conference games, and they are going to set to start Labor Day weekend. Why this is important is because there are several institutions that are looking for games to play, particularly out of the Big 12, which is a conversation that we will get to coming up. But you think usually the SEC, now the Sun Belt Conference is what, based out of New Orleans?
It's their league office.
I think that's their league office.
Obviously, Arkansas State's one of the first institutions, but UL Monroe is one that was on Arkansas' schedule this year.
A lot of SEC teams typically schedule Sun Belt because they're in the same kind of vicinity of the United States, and there's a lot of ties there. But because of the SEC going to conference only this season, that they will not play the Sun Belts this year. And I know I was reading this article yesterday, Tommy, the Chick-fil-A kickoff game, Auburn was set to play, and I'm North Carolina. Thank you, Jenkins, because I knew it was an ACC school. They're going to lose, it looks like, over $5 million because of just not getting. They were set to make like $5 million from Chick-fil-A for just the Mercedes-Benz or whatever they were playing, but because that game is not
3 kickoff games.
Yeah, well, the Chick-fil-A kickoff game.
Right.
Is it 3?
There was 3 games scheduled there
that weekend.
This year. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the Auburn themselves were set to make like $5 million or a little over $5 million, and if they sold out their ticket allotment, which they apparently did, but because of everything occurring, they're now, I think, having to repay that or get that back or not going to receive it or whatever. So that's a difficult situation. And you mentioned how much of an impact the Sun Belt institutions have unfortunately suffered because of the lack of other big-time Power 5 conferences canceling their non-conference games.
Right. Well, we know that Arkansas State lost 1.8 when Michigan scheduled. I read where when the SEC canceled its non-conference games, I think that conference as a whole took an $11 million hit. So it's been very costly to a league like the Sun Belt to not have these games. I'm sure they're trying to partner with the Big 12, who is going to play a +1, the ACC, who's going to play a +1, and try to get – there's going to be a fight for those +1 games with these non-Power 5 conferences to who can get in there. Don't think for a second there won't be in-state politics on this, that particularly in these footprints. Hey, in Texas, we want you to play some of these in-state schools and help those schools out. Now, I don't know what the financial arrangements are going to be. They're going to just say, hey, meet us in court if you think we're going to pay you the money. I'll be interested to see if there are outs in these contracts. Now, we know Arkansas is starting to put language in contracts moving forward that, hey, if there's a situation like we're under, we're not on the hook for the money. But I don't know if you're out of the arrangement for force majeure. I mean, that's going to take someone with a lot more expertise in contract language.
Scott Verity.
Yeah, he's the one that was he's now at the foundation, but he was the athletic department general counsel for a number of years. Somebody's going to have to unwind a lot of that language and figure out how that's going to work, because these schools are probably going to press some of these matters if they feel like they have a leg to stand on.
Yeah, the thing about Scott is as much of a people person he is, and I've only met him a handful of times, the music stuff that he doesn't come up. You know how there's like lawyers and then there's like The whole perception of a lawyer is something completely different. I feel like it's like kind of stonewalled like that. But Scott comes across as more of a friendly, but he obviously has the teeth of the background and stuff. Well, man, and you know him better than I do. That's just how I've
neat guy.
That's just how I've come across.
Yeah. Which personality you're dealing with? The drummer, the head of the foundation, the sales guy, or the lawyer?
Hopefully,
which guy you dealing with today?
I was gonna say, hopefully, I'll never have to deal with the lawyer side of things. I hope I don't ever have to go to court when it comes to dealing with the University of Arkansas.
But I'll be interested to see. I would think in most cases, these schools and these conferences don't want to make scheduling partners mad, because when this is over, hey, I'm UL Monroe. I want to go back and play Arkansas and other SEC schools at some point down the road. I don't want to make the SEC mad where they say, well, we'll just go to 9 games. We won't play Sunbelt schools as frequently down the road. Yeah, well, all right, we'll give you your $1 million, but don't look for us to schedule you anytime soon.
The SEC,
so it's a delicate line you got to walk there.
The SEC holds the cards in this situation.
So I mean,
all the cards.
You got to be careful about what you do, because you got to look at the long term. So I don't really look for there to be a lot of litigation on this ultimately, but I just wonder what the legal ground is, and if there will be schools that want to press the matter.
We talked about how Brandon Allen signed with the Bengals over the weekend. Well, a Razorback was actually cut from the roster earlier this week. Former Razorback Devwah Whaley is no longer on the team, unfortunately. So hope to see Devwah end up in an NFL team later.
Is Duval Wally still on the team? Did Duval Wally make the cut?
I haven't seen any reports on that.
Any word on Duval Wally?
Have not seen the reports on that. So Turner Gill, who was
Eddie in Clarksville to check on that for.
I know it's been a while since we've heard from Eddie, or Michael in Stuttgart for that matter. Hope both of them are doing good. Turner Gill is apparently leaving the Arkansas program to go work at Liberty. Tommy, he was he an analyst, or what was his position?
Was he still in the program? I mean, Chad Morris brought him in, so I didn't think he was still. I mean, he may have been still in Fayetteville. I didn't think he was still part of the program.
I couldn't tell you. I
don't. Think
I feel like his title. What was his title? Director? Was it director of player? I can't remember.
Student life development.
I think it's something like
something
that.
along those lines. He may have still been on the payroll, filling out serving out the last of his contract. But I don't think he was part of Sam Pittman's staff in any way.
All right. So, last headline. Driving up to Northwest Arkansas today. Arns is pressing. He's.
Do you think this is the real deal? Where are you at percentage-wise? You 50-50 on this with Madison Pruitt? You going to talk to her today?
At 4:30, that's what Arns says. So that'd be pretty rude of Arns if he maybe drove all the way, got me excited, and then just had Ruskin calling or something like that.
I'm going to be on the golf course, and I'm going to tune in. So if I have to stop my golf game today and tune in for nothing, I'm going to be hacked for you.
Yeah.
All right.
So you can yell at Arns for me.
Hey, is your home in Arkansas at least 10 years old and served by OG&E? OG&E is offering Arkansas customers a free weatherization program to increase your comfort and to lower your bills. Trained crews will perform an energy audit at no cost to you, and if your home qualifies, crews will install measures that could include attic insulation, LED light bulbs, weather stripping, power strips, smoke alarms, carbon monoxide detectors, and much more. Hey, these services provided through this program are no charge to qualifying homes. If you or someone you know could benefit from free home weatherization, call OG&E today, 1-800-272-9741. That's 1-800-272-9741 for OG&E's free home weatherization improvement program.
Coming up, Andrew Hutchinson wrote a really good piece on Hogbeat about the Razorbacks putting on weight in the football program. That's next on the Morning Rush.
Arkansas's home for the best sports talk.
Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
You're listening to the Morning Rush.
Born in Arkansas, designed in the Swiss Alps, and field tested all over the world, Canis Tactical Hunting Gear will allow you to hunt longer, farther, and in more comfort than ever before. Whether you are hunting early or late season whitetails, chasing greenheads in the timber, or stalking elk in the west, our layering system has you covered. We're a direct-to-consumer company, so shop our website at canisathlete.com and use the code Arkansas to receive 15% off your first order. Follow us on social at Canis Athlete for updates and new product launches. Be the wolf.
Are your appliances struggling? Do you need that part and not sure where to go? Mid-South Distributing has you covered with 9 locations in the Arkansas area. Appliance parts and accessories for all major brands of appliance. Mid-South Distributing has you, the customer, in mind when you're needing that part for your appliance. Mid-South Distributing. Check out midsouthparts.com to find your location near you. Mid-South Distributing. We're in your neighborhood.
Harry Robinson Buick GMC has over 200 pre-owned vehicles to choose from luxury to economy and everything in between, including over 50 great vehicles with payments under $250 a month, certain to fit your needs and your budget. And at Harry Robinson Buick GMC, you always get more for your trade. 50 vehicles with payments under $250 a month at Harry Robinson Buick GMC, Exit 11 off I-540 in Fort Smith.
Is your Arkansas home at least 10 years old and served by OG&E? OG&E is offering Arkansas customers a free weatherization program to increase your comfort and lower your bills. A trained crew will perform an energy audit at no cost to you, and if your home qualifies, their crews will install measures that can include attic insulation, LED light bulbs, weather stripping, advanced power strips, smoke alarms, carbon monoxide detectors, and much more. The services provided through this program are at no charge to you for qualifying homes. If you or someone you know could benefit from free home weatherization improvements, call OG&E today at 800-272-9741. That's 800-272-9741.
Hardee's presents the Southwest Omelet, Biscuit, and Burrito. Wanted in 42 states on charges of bringing a sweat to the brow of breakfast lovers with low spice tolerance. We start with a made-from-scratch biscuit. And then we add a fluffy omelet full of melted cheese, crispy bacon, and spicy jalapenos. And if you're feeling extra wild, you can get it all wrapped up in a burrito. The Southwest Omelet, Biscuit, and Burrito are back, only at Hardee's. Feed your happy. Limited time only at participating Hardee's restaurants. Price and participation may vary.
Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
It's time for the annual trade-up event going on right now at Breeden RV all through the month of July. Trade up and get up to $5,000 over NADA trade-in value. Trade up and take advantage of rock-bottom prices on all new and used travel trailers, fifth wheels, and motorhomes. And you get free maintenance for life on everything new. Breeden RV will also take care of all your service needs on all makes and models. Shop today at BreedenRV.com and then come see Ransom in the Game at Breeden RV between Van Buren and Alma on Alma Highway. Breeden RV, where adventures begin.
Today is the day. After countless hours of research, cutting back expenses, and 9 months of anxiously waiting for her, today is the day you finally bring home your new car. It's also the day to protect her with an auto policy from Shelter Insurance. Our policies are competitively priced and include new car replacement coverage if anything were to happen to your new baby.
Ask Shelter agents Tiffany Newman or Warren Robertson about renter's insurance.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
Have your travel plans changed? Looking for a place that's close to home and keep your family safe? Gaston's White River Resort is located on the beautiful White River. They offer private accommodations in their lodges and cabins. Most cabins have a fully equipped kitchen or let their restaurant staff deliver to your cabin. Call 870-431-5202 and change your plans to Gaston's White River Resort. Gaston's White River Resort, a first-class time every time.
ESPN 95.3. The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson and Tommy Kraft.
Chuck, Porterhouse, Ribeye, I know exactly how you guys are feeling. In fact, I can think of only one thing that could lift my spirits right now. Beer.
Follow us on Twitter at Ty Sports Radio and at Tommy Kraft ESPN.
I want to talk about Andrew Hutchinson's article on Hogbeat. dissecting how many players have put on weight during the spring program since National Signing Day and more. We'll get into that coming up on the Morning Rush. Before we do that, go ahead. The good type of weight.
Players. I'm glad it's on players and not on the media that put on.
I was going to say, we were joking with our buddy Tom Murphy yesterday. I'm really glad that on the media guide they don't list the media's height and weight.
Exactly.
That's probably
on the
good.
media rosters. So.
I think I'm 5'11/6 feet, 183.
Hey.
So you want to list yours? real
Hey,
quick?
are you? Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. That'll be the hook. Hey, are you tired of your noisy neighbors? Do you look to upgrade your apartment anytime soon? Do you need a townhome? Do you maybe need to downgrade? You know, it's right now. Maybe some people looking for a different situation. Maybe your family situations has changed. Maybe you're in a duplex and you need a single-family home. Hey, whatever it is. Maybe your job's moving you from the River Valley to Northwest Arkansas. Maybe you're moving to Tulsa. Hey, whatever it is, go to TrinityMultifamily.com. Use our easy search tool. Online, you can put in the number of bedrooms, number of baths, square footage, all kinds of parameters, and the zip code of the area you're looking to move to, and it'll tell you what's available in that area. So TrinityMultifamily.com, or you can call and talk to somebody. They'll walk you through all the options. 479-452-1817. That's 479-452-1817. Or again, online at TrinityMultifamily.com. Trinity Multifamily, your teammate in the real estate game. 62195.
No lies heard there. No lies heard there. So that would be, I think every
body fat about 8% this morning.
Every Arkansas media member that we have on from here on out, Tommy, let's ask them to list their, regardless if they're female or male. So I'm sure. That will go over swimmingly with all our guests that we have on. So
SmackDown, y'all start with Nikki on that. See how that goes. Get back to me on that.
See, the thing about Nikki would actually have fun with that. Now there's other members, and I'm not just talking about the women of Arkansas sports media. There's other men of Arkansas sports media that would get really offended and freak out on you quick.
Who would get most offended by that? That's the people we need to ask.
Yeah.
I don't want the least offended. I want the most offended.
Yeah. I don't. Who would go off for? Maybe Mike Irwin. Mike wouldn't necessarily. He would just be ticked about the question.
He would be ticked about the question
that you're talking about.
Maybe Otis, Nate Allen. Those guys, I think, not so much be offended by the question. Oh, that's a stupid question.
Yeah.
What are you young guys doing there? You millennial.
Mike likes to mess with me every once in a while, so I would probably do the same in that. And speaking of like height and weight, Tommy, on my driver's license and every other piece of information that I've ever entered on the internet, I always list my height as 6 feet, even though I'm like 5'11" or whatever. It's like 5'11" and a quarter, 5'11" and or half or whatever. But I'm truly like
it's not like they're down there at the DMV measuring
you. So you just want to list off.
Good
6
thing
feet.
they don't have scales down there at the DMV.
So that's 100% right, because I know a lot of people like to lie about their weight on their driver's license as well. But back to the conversation that we started and want to get into when it comes to football and the physicality that you face and the toughness of the SEC, especially in the trenches. You got to have some good solid weight. Now, it's not just fat. Like, I'm talking muscle. I'm talking, like, in some cases, lean. You have to be able to be a physical specimen up front, not only up front, but the skill positions as well. And one of the characteristics that people noticed about Chad Morris's staff these past 2 seasons is the guys didn't necessarily have what looked to be the best weight when it comes to competing in the SEC. Since Sam Pittman has arrived, they've stressed putting on good weight. Now, one of the things you can point to during the Brett Bielema era is that was also pushed and pressed as well. But those guys didn't finish out games, and it seems like injury after injury, especially foot injuries, were really prevalent within that program.
Particularly Bielema's era.
Yeah, and really exactly. So
was it the shoes? Was it the training? I mean, we spent hours discussing foot injuries.
Yeah, and so when it comes to this weight, I want to talk about some guys that have put on good weight in the spring. Myron Cunningham, and again, this is what Hutch did in this article, is he looked at the weight where they were initially listed on the roster to when they changed the online roster. Now, according to this, Myron Cunningham leads the way, putting on 32 pounds.
Now, keep in mind, what was the training staff and the coaching staff trying to do with offensive linemen? Now, it's a good number. I'm not taking away from what Myron's done, but they were trying to trim down and slim down and lessen the weight of the offensive linemen. They were trying to make them smaller and faster,
Mhm.
quicker. So you expect these linemen that they were getting closer to 315, 320, in the upper, the lower 300s, that now Sam wants them back up 330, in higher, in bigger weights. So these guys need to be gaining these kind of numbers. So to see him put on 32 good pounds, that's a good sign from a guy you're going to be counting on at tackle.
Yeah, and I'm curious because what I asked, and I asked this of Clay, and I'll ask this of you as well. I don't know if they're like differing philosophies, but when you look at Kendall Briles and the offense that he's trying to establish, the up-tempo, the veer and shoot, the go, like, is there going to be any conflict with trying to build up the weight of offensive linemen when you know as well as I do? Not to say that muscle isn't good and that you don't want to be able to have that in order when you're participating in Division I college football, but I don't know if they're necessarily differing in philosophy, but like in a sense, it feels like that Kendall Briles is almost trying to not the exact same thing, but the up-tempo style that Chad Morris had. Like how is that going to work?
Well, let's see what the pace really is. I mean, people talk about up-tempo, and that doesn't mean you're going to run a play every 12 or 15 seconds. Now, there will be times you get into a NASCAR-type package that some teams use that term, let's go NASCAR, where you are trying to snap the ball every 12, 13, 14 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times you're just trying to get to the line of scrimmage and freeze the defense, and you still give your linemen a chance to breathe, catch their breath, because you're either checking with the coach at the line of scrimmage, but what you're doing is you're not allowing the defense to substitute. You found the mismatch you like. They can't move. They can't swap guys. You can't either, but at least your linemen are catching their breath. They may be in their stance, but they're not going every 12 seconds. So there is a difference. We hear about this hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Well, there's a difference between getting to the line and snapping the ball every 12 seconds.
And on that note, if you watch old Baylor football games, if you watch FAU, if you watch Houston, if you watch some Florida State, like that is it's pace, speed of play. We always hear with Eric Musselman, the associated with his basketball program is pace and space. Well, pace is also going to be involved with Arkansas football. But one of the things about Chad Morris's offense the last 2 years is they weren't able to get it consistent, weren't able to get it going. So you didn't want to go 3 and out and only waste 2 minutes and give your defense only 2 minutes of rest. So it was hard for them to pick up the pace. That's why I'm curious to see if Kendall Briles and that offense has success if pace is more continuous, if they tend to use it more. I asked Clay this, and here's why I asked Clay this question, and it's gonna be me and Clay tomorrow. Tommy's gonna be on a little weekend trip. So what I asked, and I think it was a valid question. I know Clay pointed in and said this, but with Arkansas football, go back to 2015 when Sam Pittman was the offensive line coach and Dan Enos was the offensive coordinator. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Dan Enos had zone blocking schemes implemented in his running game and offense, right? And
Dan Enos, yes. The philosophies of Pittman as O-line coach and Enos did not mesh.
Correct. And so that didn't work, particularly in the Toledo game, which we all know what happened in that game.
Toledo caused the problems more than the lack of philosophy. Toledo's movement and shifting, or stemming is another term, that was a problem, is the pre-snap movement that Toledo had in that game. And it's more prevalent.
Who got hired first, Davis or Briles? You remember? You might have to look at that timeline real quick.
I think it was Kendall Briles.
Okay.
But no, you know what? I don't think that. I think it was Davis.
Okay.
I think Davis may have been one of the first hires.
Well, and that's why I asked the question, because I asked Clay, I was like the cohesiveness of this working and stuff, and Clay said, well, he's not going to hire Davis without Briles. And, well, if he hired Davis first and then Briles, then that doesn't necessarily mean Briles, you can't really come in and say that he didn't like that. And
that's
again,
a good point. No, your point's good.
That's not to say it can't work, but that was my whole point I was trying to come up with. Like and again, this is all on the idea if Davis got hired first.
Yeah.
And I don't remember. I'm trying. Jenkins is looking that up for us, but
your point's
right. And again, like sometimes guys come in as coaches and they mess flawlessly. Sometimes, even if they're good coaches, there's just not that connection. They have different schemes. They have different lines of thinking. They go about it different ways. So we've talked a lot of time. We have talked so much about this basketball team coming in with these true freshmen, these grad transfers, and the guys they're staying on, how they'll mesh together. Well, we also need to talk about how this coaching staff for football is going to mesh together, because you have what is Stepp the only returnee from last year? Is that correct? And then you have a new head coach, new OC, new DC.
Lundy could have returned if he'd have chose to.
Correct.
He chose to take the OC role at UT San Antonio, which is a better career move for him.
Because I guarantee you, Tommy, if he's going to get an opportunity someday. Now, it could be 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road to come back to Arkansas. But like other lines of work, sometimes you have to leave the state, prove yourself somewhere else, and then come back. Like, you can't just, like, all these former players are like, I want a job at Arkansas, or I want a job at Arkansas. Well, buddy, Arkansas is a Division I SEC program. Go prove yourself at the high school ranks. Go prove yourself at a GA position. Go prove yourself at another college. Then you can come back and actually be worth something on the football field at Arkansas. What do you have for us, Jenkins?
Brad Davis was hired on December 10th. Kendall Browse was hired on December 23rd.
Okay, so about 12 days after. So, again, listen, maybe I'm making out too much of that. All I know is in that particular game, Toledo 2015, that worked. And you bring up that the Rockets were running some stemming, some stunts and stuff like that, which, again, that's terminology that I know, but I can't necessarily.
I don't know if the audience cares. They were right into fractions of a second, half a second before the snap, they were moving, shifting rolling into a different gap. Hard to pick up your assignment as a lineman when that happens.
Again, we're hoping this basketball team comes together and meshes. We heard from Isaiah on the Zoom call. We played some audio for you yesterday that he's known many of these guys growing up, whether it's Desi, whether it's Ethan, whether it's KK, whether it's Moses, whoever. You're hoping that not only those guys, that the in-state guys come together, but they bring in the out-of-state guys and the transfers into that fold so it comes right together. Sam Pittman has some better relationships with some of the guys that he's no longer on the staff, and then he's brought some guys in that he thinks are going to be really good hires. You're hoping that those guys mesh together and work out, because it's really important that this coaching staff, not only the players, we can talk about players, Tommy, and we can run that up the flagpole all day long. That's absolutely fine, and it's absolutely true, and it's vital for both the football team, basketball team, baseball team. Pick a team on that campus. But the coaching staff, they also have to have some cohesion together. Otherwise, if there's dissension within that staff, where's that going to lead to? Dissension within the players.
There's only one kind of offensive line philosophy that probably is going to matter, and that's the head coaches, right? I mean, based on his background. I would think ultimately he's not going to probably yield to anything he doesn't believe in. Is the way we're going to run things up front.
Mm-hmm.
This is an inside-out guy. And that's why it didn't really ultimately work with Chad Morris is he wanted to build the team from outside in. Maybe if you'd have given 4 or 5 years and had the patience, maybe that would have worked if you'd have waited long enough. It just, when you were losing the level of games you were losing in the fashion you were losing it, you just couldn't have, you couldn't afford the patience that were going to be required. Sam understands you start up front. His background's up front. The philosophy you're going to use on that line and how you're going to go about the business, whether it's going to be Sam's. It's and I think he's hired guys that fall in line with that. So,
can you name one offensive lineman from Clemson?
No, today.
Yeah,
no,
like not on the roster now, but during Chad Morris's era when he was there for 4 or 5 seasons. The OC. Can you name skill position players though?
Yeah, I mean, Taj Boyd would be one of the first.
Taj Boyd, Sammy Watkins,
right.
DeAndre Hopkins, Martavius Bryant, and they're not C.J. Spiller, but there's some other guys on that camp. I mean, those are NFL caliber guys that were that.
Because the point is, well, go ahead with your point.
Yeah, well, no, you know what exactly.
The point is stats and highlights, but we all know how football's played.
Yeah, and
anyone that watches football knows you can't be successful without those 5 big uglies up front getting the work done. That is the base, and it's like a house. A house is not going to stand. The pretty stuff inside are the LED lights and the Bluetooth speakers and the TVs built into the walls. But that house isn't going to stand without a great foundation built on steel piers that have been driven into the ground. The linemen are the foundation, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't have a good foundation on a house, you can have a great beachfront home, but all these homes down in Sandestin, down there on the Redneck Riviera, they got to have all these great piers and however they build them down there on these sandy beaches. Well, if you don't have a great foundation, those homes are going to collapse into the ocean at some point.
And I couldn't name a Clemson offensive lineman.
Right, we can look it up.
The intent was to put you on the spot. Like,
exactly.
But we can name skill position players like that, which, again, those are very important. Like, this team's not going to be something without Rakeem Boyd, Traylon Burks, Trey Knox and stuff. But it's the SEC, y'all. You can't have success in this conference without the big uglies up front. And I don't think Chad Morris and his staff realized how important that was for this football program in the SEC West.
I think they thought they had more time to get all of it together.
And that is true as well. So 877-377-6963 if you want to hop in this conversation. We're talking about the adding of weight for this football program, the philosophy that's coming in, and talking about how the coaches are going to mesh this upcoming fall on the football staff. Kagan wants to hop in on the conversation from Piggott. Kagan, you're on the Morning Rush.
Hey, good morning, guys. I'd like to hop back to the, alumni football players that, interested in coaching jobs. At one time, which y'all probably heard the same thing, I heard that Darren McFadden might be interested, on the running backs coach. He knew Sam Pittman was looking for one. In my opinion, I believe that could possibly be the best running backs coach we could ever have. If he couldn't pull 5-star recruits and top running backs, I don't know who could, who wouldn't want to play for McFadden, one of the best running backs in the SEC history, in my opinion.
Kagan, we asked him on this very show a couple months back, and we said, do you still have any interest in coaching, whatever? And he said, yeah, that would be something. We also asked him about radio and TV. I think he has interest, but again, you have, and it's hard to say this because that's my favorite player to ever don a Razorback uniform. That's my favorite, and that's my favorite athlete of all time. He's a Little Rock guy. Like I just absolutely love everything that guy has done. But you can't, I don't think you nor I nor Tommy truly understand what the coaching grind is about, how you have to be recruiting every hour of every day. And while Darren has so many accolades in his background, you can't just go from never because he hasn't. Has he coached?
No, I mean we can't just Darren Kagan. We can't just say Darren has that complete skill set, and maybe he does. But to just say because you're a great player makes you a great coach, I don't think. Just because I can eat good doesn't make me a great cook, right? I think should there be a place for him if he wants to be a part? I mean, and you may be right. He might be the best running back coach in the history of the game at some point. But I don't think you can just automatically assume it because he's a great player. I think you got to respect the fact that being a great coach at any position, whether it's running back, wide receiver, or any other spot, there's a lot of skill that goes into that. There's a lot of great coaches. Just a few weeks ago, we were talking about the late Charles Ripley. He was one of the greatest high school coaches to ever come about in Arkansas. He was never a player. I mean, he was a team manager.
Bill Belichick never played.
So being a great player doesn't always mean a great coach, but not being a player doesn't mean you can't be a great coach. There's a skill to being a coach, just like there's a skill to being a player.
Yeah.
And I think we have to recognize that. Just because I can eat real good doesn't mean I can cook real good.
And Kagan, on that note, I would have no problem, and I say no problem at all, eventually thinking about adding him to some part of the coaching staff. But to me, and it's hard to say this, but it's true, you got to go prove yourself a little bit. And again, Darren proved himself more times over and over again on the football field as a player, but he's yet to do it as a coach of any form or fashion.
Now, what he's done as a player, if they want to create a spot, make a spot,
by all means,
give him a spot that's some kind of support role, and then that gives him a chance to prove it. By all means, hey, open arms, welcome to do something. But I mean,
it's like a high school kid in high school, say the top running back or whoever, number one on 24/7.
Yeah.
Say he gets a text message from Darren McFadden. What's he gonna do?
Well,
I mean, if he texts me wanting to come and I was the best running back, which I'm from Arkansas, like y'all too, of course I'm going to do it. I can learn from the best.
Kagan, how old are you?
I'm 26.
You're 26. Ty's going to be 26 this year. Okay, we're all of an age. We have no problem. Remember, now keep in mind, the kids you're recruiting now are how old? 16, 17 years. Now, how old?
16,
now, think back to this. How old would they have been when Darren McFadden played? Now, this is hard because now we're going to have to admit we're getting old. So, I mean, think about this for a second. These kids that you're recruiting today, how old were they when in 05, 06, 07?
Youngins.
Yeah, I mean, that's hard for all of us to think about, that they may not really understand the greatness of a Darren McFadden.
Yeah.
Because you think about it in basketball. We talk about this. Well, why isn't Corliss more involved? Why isn't this with Corliss? And why isn't Corliss part of the staff? Don't they understand that Corliss's greatness would be so awesome for recruiting? Well, the kids you recruit, I mean, McFadden's kind of running into that same territory. It's been 15 years, more or less. Well, these kids were more or less in diapers when he played. And that's hard for us to think about because it seems like yesterday because the older we get, I mean, think about how old you guys were. Y'all are basically the same age. How old were you when McFadden played? You were around the age of my kids right now.
Jimmy brings up
I was probably in 10th grade or 11th grade. I remember Felix Jones, Marcus Monk, McFadden, Peyton Hillis. You know, I was pumped up. Couldn't get enough football, you know.
No, you're 26. I bet you were a little younger than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right.
You're probably closer to junior high age.
Kagan, appreciate the call this morning. So on that note, Jimmy texted in. And a perfect example, like you're wanting to get Corliss involved in the program. And again, I don't want to point out deficiencies of former Razorbacks, but he brings up a good point. What did Corliss do at UCA? Didn't have success. And you would think the greatest, if not the second greatest player of Arkansas history would be a tremendous heck of a coach. And not to say he didn't, but he didn't necessarily have success at UCA as the head coach of the basketball program. So, again, that's one example, but you can't.
Larry Bird was one of the greatest players of all time in the NBA, right? He wasn't one of the greatest coaches. I mean, he's fine, but he wasn't one of the greatest coaches ever, right? I mean, it doesn't always translate. My point.
It just it varies. It varies by it varies by whatever. I think Bird took them to the finals in the Eastern Conference Finals in '98.
He was a good coach. He just wasn't. My point is, there's a skill to coaching. There's an art to it. There is talent to being a coach, just like there's a talent to being a player.
Mm-hmm.
You got to separate those two things. Just because you were a great player doesn't always mean you'd be a great coach.
No, exactly right. And that's a tough thing for people to comprehend sometimes, especially when you are so celebratory of that particular player while he was in school. It could be a basketball player, baseball player, football player, but it's a very unique position. That's why very few people are successful at it over time because of how much skill, how much time, how much work and effort it takes when it comes to involving that position. But don't misremember, don't misconstrue, don't put words in my mouth with Tommy and I say. We would love for Darren McFadden to be a part of this football program, but just to thrust him in as the running back coach without any prior experience, I think would be irresponsible for the U of A, and I don't anticipate Sam Pittman doing that. Again, if he wants to start somewhere at a position or if they want to create a position for him in terms of recruiting, that's fine. But as Tommy mentioned, it's easy for me to remember Darren McFadden. That was my childhood hero. But these kids that you're recruiting, some of them, I hate to say it, especially outside the state, maybe not as much inside the state, they don't even know who Darren McFadden is. And that sucks, but that's kind of what you're, and it's not just them, but I mean, if you look at some other big time guys of the early 2000s, there are probably some kids out there that don't know who Reggie Bush is, which was right around the McFadden era, which is so hard for us to compute. But that's just the day and age. And I know there's technology, there's YouTube, there's stuff they can go back and watch and stuff. But unless you lived it, unless you were immersed in it, it's not the same thing.
Yeah. And, but your point's spot on, Kagan. That you're finding a way for him to be a part of the legacy and for his legacy to live on and should be a part of the plan. I don't disagree with that. Hey, if you missed Dollar Tacos last night at Joe's Grill and Cantina, I drove by there. The parking lot was full. Joe's has them on Saturday as well. So get by Saturday all day on Saturdays. Dollar Tacos, the chicken and the beef, plus dollar specialty draft beers as well. So that's coming up on Saturdays at Joe's Grill and Cantina. Every day they have $3 margaritas. So you can stop in after a hot day working in the yard or a hot day on the golf course and enjoy some of those margaritas for $3 at Joe's Grill and Cantina. Saturdays, Dollar Tacos at Joe's Grill and Cantina. $1 draft beers as well. 3400 South 74th Street across from Harps. Joe's Grill and Cantina. Hour 2 coming up.
When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
Hi, I'm Bill Bolton of NWA Gold, Silver, and Coins. I started in this business in 1972 at an auction house that specialized in antique and estate jewelry, sterling silver, and coins. In that time, I've seen gold go from $35 an ounce to today's price of $1,683. I want to talk to you about the coins you may have inherited and how important it is to deal with someone who understands coins and this market. In 2011, we had a mother and daughter come into our store and sell us a lot of jewelry they no longer wore for $3,300. The daughter then pulled out an 1850 California $10 gold piece. Jeremy offered her $900 and she accepted his offer. He then advised her to have this coin graded. She did, and she sold it for $36,000. If you don't know what you have, please come see Jeremy in our Bentonville store. Don't sell at an auction or an estate sale and get less money. What's in your safety deposit box could be worth thousands. NWA Gold, Silver, and Coins, Bentonville, Fayetteville.
If you have experience transporting frozen and refrigerated goods and want to be part of a trucking family with insurance and be home every week, you need to contact Brent Higgins Trucking. Since 1997, Brent Higgins Trucking in Mulberry has been proudly delivering to and from various areas of the United States, including but not limited to Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Brent Higgins Trucking, where you're a name, not a number. Contact them at 479-997-2366 or at BrentHigginsTrucking.com.
Woo, it's hotter than blazes outside. But you don't have to stop, drop, and roll to beat this heat. Because right now you can shop, swap, and roll into a nicer, newer car. Hi, folks. Larry Rath here from Rath Auto Resources. I've teamed up with dealers nationwide to launch an end-of-summer car swap, where you can swap your current car for one of our Rath Road-Ready vehicles, each one hand-picked and inspected in our Meineke Car Care Center. Even if you're still making payments, and regardless of age, mileage, or condition, you can stop by with your current ride and swap it for a nicer, newer car today. Plus, Rath Auto Resources has payments that work with almost any budget. So come on down to Rath Auto Resources, the only local dealer participating in the end-of-summer car swap. Keeping the car you have? Let us get it ready for summer in our Meineke Car Care Center with free AC checks, half-off brakes, and buy 3, get 1 free on all tires. Only at Arkansas' favorite used car dealer, Rath Auto Resources, and the Meineke Car Care Center, where you can shop, swap, and roll into a nicer, newer car today. Come see us at 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith, or online, rathauto.com.
Doe's Eat Place is now open to serve you the award-winning steaks you've been missing, along with your choice of drinks from the largest selection of wines, beer, and liquor in the River Valley. Doe's Eat Place is open Tuesday through Thursday 5 till 9 and Friday and Saturday 5 till 10. Doe's Eat Place welcomes their loyal diners back and new diners to experience the best steaks, atmosphere, and service in the River Valley. The patio is also open for your dining pleasure. Just call for reservations. Doe's Eat Place, 422 North 3rd Street, Fort Smith.
New Bud Light Seltzer, huh?
Yep.
And it tastes like a hard seltzer, not a beer?
Yep.
So it's light and refreshing?
Yep.
With a hint of fruit flavor?
Yep.
And 100 calories?
Yep.
You said this is Bud Light Seltzer?
Yep.
Well, I need to try it.
Yep.
Oh, that tastes great.
Yep.
Now, wait, are you just yupping me?
Nope.
Bud Light Seltzer, unquestionably good. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Seltzer, IRC Beers, beer in Texas, St. Louis, Missouri.
Have you been looking for your next place to call home and just haven't found the right one? Then it's time to check out the properties at Trinity Multifamily. With a variety of apartments, duplexes, townhomes, and houses, there is surely one to fit your needs. Whether it's in the River Valley, Northwest Arkansas, or Central Arkansas that you are looking at, they have you covered. Give them a call today. Trinity Multifamily, 479-452-1817. That's 479-452-1817. Or online at trinitymultifamily.com to search rental properties near you.
Tri-Hill Turf offers the highest quality turf and pest services. Hey, you say those are big words. Well, let's see. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has a company agronomist, state and nationally certified technicians, free soil testing, and they even have precision GPS guided application equipment. Now that's high tech. For over 30 years, Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has used the latest application technology, and they strive for turf and pest excellence. They are your local turf and pest experts. Call the local team at 782-0404. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest.
Did you know that you can get your car serviced or repaired without ever leaving your house? All you have to do is call Jody's Auto Service Center at 479-649-3399. Jody's will pick up your vehicle, service or repair it for you, and return it fully disinfected to your driveway. Pickup and delivery is free for jobs $75 or more. Jobs less than $75 can be picked up and returned for a $10 fee. Let Jody's Auto Service Centers handle all your service and vehicle repair needs. Call 479-649-3399. Jody's Auto Service Center.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Mostly sunny sky today. Our high this afternoon will be right around the low to mid 80s. Mainly clear sky tonight. An overnight low in the low 60s. Partly to mostly sunny on Thursday. A slight chance of showers or storms. Highs on Thursday in the mid to upper 80s. And then some showers and scattered storms for Friday. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Weather is brought to you by OG&E Weatherization Program for Arkansas customers with homes at least 10 years old. Call 1-800-272-9741 for details or log on to OGE.com.
KERX, Paris Fort Smith.
Hey, we can't make you a morning person, but we can make your mornings.
ESPN 95.3. This hour of the Morning Rush is brought to you by Quantum Property Services. Buying, selling, investing, and encompassing all your property needs.
Hey, this is Darren McFadden. You're listening to the Morning Rush.
Live from the Busch Light Studios.
You're causing a major disturbance on my time.
If I'm here and you're here, doesn't that make it our time?
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station. Streaming live from
HitThatLine.com.
There's a lot of lions, tigers, and bears, but there ain't but one razorback. Number one.
This is the Morning Rush.
Borderline erotic.
With Ty Richardson.
Sunshine.
That's cool. I can dig it.
And Tommy Kraft.
Do I look happy? What's wrong? Lloyd!
The Morning Rush starts right now.
Hour number 2 of the Morning Rush. I want to talk about the news that broke earlier this week about Arkansas high school basketball will be implementing shot clocks for the 2022-2023 season. Now, 6A basketball, is it this upcoming season or next season where they got theirs?
This season for 6A.
This season for 6A. So we will talk about that coming up here on the Morning Rush.
Brought to you by World of Wireless, 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474. Lock in your price for 2 years. Hey, with sports back, or at least we're planning on college football, you want a plan that has all your favorite sports channels, including the SEC network, including all the regional sports networks. You can get that with World of Wireless, and you can lock in the price for 2 years. If you got 3 TVs in your house, if you're paying more than $75 a month, you need to call Ben at World of Wireless. He can get you fixed up with a plan that guarantees you a price of $74.99 a month for 2 years. And you get whole home DVR, HD in every room. And right now when you sign up, the Google doorbell system is included and installed at no extra charge. That means it takes a picture of whoever is at your door. Pizza delivery man, FedEx man, neighbors, whoever it is coming to your door, and it will interact or integrate with your Hopper system, so it shows up on your TV screen too. 877-305-DISH for WOW World of Wireless.
So when you think about this, when it comes to Arkansas high school basketball, you want kids that can quickly translate to college, whether they're Arkansas, whether they're Arkansas State, UCA, or if they choose to go out of state. You want these kids to be set up for success. Tommy, adding a shot clock, 35 seconds, I wish it was 30, but 35 is at least going to be better than allowing them to just pitter-patter and do 4. I've watched a basketball game in Arkansas where I've seen 4 corners. That doesn't help anyone at all.
It will change some of the end-of-the-game strategy for a team that's trying to work the clock down late in the ball game. But I go back to what you just said, and I think it's accurate. If you're trying to prepare high school students for the next level, a shot clock does that. Now, I think it should be as much about that as it is about trying to take away teams that want to take the ball and hold it. You've seen some coaches that's been the strategy. Now, listen, I don't have a problem with that. If that's your way to win, because there's been games where that's the only way a team had a chance to win the game. That's smart coaching. Now, that's going to take away a strategy from certain schools against other schools that, hey, they didn't have the size, the speed, and the athleticism. If you're mismatched in those 3 categories, your options are few. That was one way to keep the game close.
What about hard?
Huh?
What about hard? I know.
Okay. So I've seen this work. Marty Barnes was the master. And he's retired from coaching. Smart. I mean, very smart guy. And he would come up with these plans, and a lot of times his games would end 28-27 or 32-31, or, he would play a hard brand of defense and a slowed down offense at the high school level. And, so it's going to force some adjustment. I don't think this is going to be as big a deal in most of the cases as some people think it is. this isn't going to revolutionize high school basketball. I don't think you're going to see a rash of shot clock violations the way some people think it will be.
Gotta get your motion ready, Tommy.
I don't think you're going to see people, a lot of the officials patting the top of their head as Ty is here in the studio, because the times it's been experimented with, there weren't a lot of them, those violations. I just don't think there are some games where this is an issue. I just think it's a handful of the games.
Andy in Mountain Home texted in. He says, I watched a lot of high school basketball, and some of these smaller schools aren't even good enough for a shot clock. And he brings up Izard County. So I remember playing Izard County in team camp, Andy, and back in the day, back in summer. I'm not the one that needs to be talking about how this is going to impact, because I haven't watched a lot of Arkansas high school basketball in quite some time. Now, when I was in high school, I'd watch the games, play in the games, or whatever, but it's been quite some time since I've actually gone to an Arkansas high school basketball game. It's on me. Jalen Williams was literally a stone's throw 20 minutes away from me, and I didn't go to a single one of his games last year because I had my head up my rectum. But you're obviously getting to ref these games every.
See a lot more. I mean, the pace at a lot of levels, and I do see more the upper end of the classifications than the lower ends more often than not. But I just don't see a lot of nights where the ball is being held without a shot or an attempt on the basket for more than 35 seconds frequently. Does it happen? Do teams take a 10 or 12-point lead in the last few minutes of a half or the end of regulation and sometimes hold it? Yes. Do some end-of-half strategies get altered or changed? Yes. But this idea that, teams that get the opening tip and hold it for the last shot in the first quarter, that just, I'm seeing some of these comments on Twitter and Facebook. That just doesn't happen very often. I just don't, not the games I'm seeing. That's not happening very often. These offenses that people are talking about, that teams are passing it, 10 or 12 or 15 times with no shot, I'm not seeing a lot of that. So I just don't think it's going to lead this great revolution and change, because there's going to be some teams and coaches that do have to change. But I think for the most part, Arkansas high school basketball likes to get up and down the floor, to score points, and they don't stall it out for the most part.
Do you have a particular classification that you enjoyed reffing and others?
I mean, there's great coaches and great players at all levels. So just the area I live in, there's not as many opportunities to work some of the smaller classifications. They're just more at the 4, 5, 6A level. And keep in mind, there is no 7A in high school basketball. 6A is the top level. So it's just the areas you live in. If you live in certain areas of the state, there's fewer opportunities to work at those levels because there's not as many schools. It's kind of based on where you live at. But there's great players and great coaches at all levels. And I think you're going to see this really help players adjust and get into a habit of looking for the clock. I know from working college games, when I work a college game and then go work a high school game, I find myself in just naturally, habitually looking for that shot clock, and it's not there. So I'm happy because yes, there's a 5-second difference, and it's really not that big a deal. I know you wanted 30. Don't forget, it wasn't that long ago the college shot clock was at 35.
Yeah. It's
only been a few seasons that it was bumped down to 30. And maybe someday it will get to 30 in high school. 35's plenty. There was probably some talk of 40 at one point. It wasn't that long ago. College was, I don't know how many seasons ago, that it wasn't that many, 10 or so, that it was more than 35, maybe a little longer.
College basketball, I don't know if it was a year ago or 2 years ago, or maybe even 3, where they implemented the offensive rebound goes to 20 seconds instead of 30 seconds. So it's going to be, and again, you bring up the point that there wasn't that many examples, but I think even a couple's too many.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying this idea that it's going to be revolutionary to high school basketball, I think, is a bit overstated.
And that's fair, but you also want to get these kids as close to and again, the competition's not going to be close, but whether it's the coaching, whether it's the rules, you want them to get as acquainted with those at the high school level. So if they do have aspirations for the college level, there won't just be this massive transition when it comes to that.
Totally agree with you there. And it'll make the coaches better, it'll make the players better, and it'll make the referees better down the road.
Yeah.
So make everybody improve.
Exactly.
But there's going to be some bumps in the road as the game has to transition. So, don't expect everything to be flawless in year one.
And I joked about, like, my initial first test at the U of A was business law, and I got a 56 on it because, and I like to joke that I went to a blue ribbon school at Little Rock Christian, but in reality, Little Rock Christian, at least the way I looked at it, did not prepare me as well as it should have for the University of Arkansas and a college-level curriculum. So, to me, and we can try and tie in the athletic side of things to the school side of things. That's just my opinion on that matter. Coming up, Kevin McPherson. We'll talk some basketball with him next.
Arkansas's home for the best sports talk.
This is former Arkansas football coach Ken Hatfield, and you're listening to The Morning Rush.
It's time for the annual trade-up event going on right now at Breeden RV all through the month of July. Trade up and get up to $5,000 over NADA trade-in value. Trade up and take advantage of rock-bottom prices on all new and used travel trailers, fifth wheels, and motorhomes. And you get free maintenance for life on everything new. Breeden RV will also take care of all your service needs on all makes and models. Shop today at BreedenRV.com and then come see Ransom in the Game at Breeden RV between Van Buren and Alma on Alma Highway. Breeden RV, where adventures begin.
Tommy Kraft here for The Fence Man. Do you own a business that needs more security? Or maybe you just want a better look and more curb appeal? A new fence from The Fence Man can give you both. In business for more than 40 years, The Fence Man can custom install any type of fencing, gates, and controlled access for your business. Call The Fence Man and ask about 18 months same as cash financing with approved credit. 479-782-3936. That's 479-782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. Harry Robinson Buick GMC has over 200 pre-owned vehicles to choose from luxury to economy and everything in between, including over 50 great vehicles with payments under $250 a month, certain to fit your needs and your budget. And at Harry Robinson Buick GMC, you always get more for your trade. 50 vehicles with payments under $250 a month at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off I-540 in Fort Smith.
The Golf Nut is in need of late model pre-owned irons. If you have a set of irons sitting around the house or in the garage, give Patrick a call or bring them by the shop. While you're in there, check out the great selection of shoes, apparel, and accessories, including the new Nike Air Jordan 80 G2's golf shoes. The Trackman and Foresight indoor simulation bays are available for rent. Beat the heat and work on your game in a climate-controlled atmosphere or play a round of golf on one of the many great courses. Check Facebook for daily specials. The Golf Nut, 5121 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith, your #1 golf shop since 1994.
Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge, now open Tuesday through Saturday. Still serving all the 906 specialty items with new menu items including fish and chips, classic club sandwiches, Caesar and Cobb salads, dine in or carry out, wines, top shelf spirits, and handcrafted cocktails and cigars, all in an atmosphere that feels more like a destination. Following all of the state guidelines in a state-of-the-art air filtration system for your safety. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge, defining nightlife in downtown Fort Smith. Doors open Tuesday through Saturday at 4 p.m.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
The best TV experience in the nation is available locally with personal service from WOW World of Wireless, your neighborhood professional Dish authorized retailer. Dish has the Hopper 3, the most advanced DVR, and delivers a premium viewing experience. Tired of running out of DVR space? With the Hopper 3, you can record up to 2,000 hours of your favorite programming and watch your very own favorite channels and DVR recording anywhere you go on your phone or tablet. Call now, WOW World of Wireless at 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3888. 305-3474 for more details, or visit us online at shopwownow.com. Get the Hopper 3 today by calling WOW World of Wireless at 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474, or online at shopwownow.com.
Monthly equipment fees and other restrictions apply. Recording hours vary. 2,000 hours based on SD programming. Remote viewing requires internet connection and compatible mobile device. World of Wireless has moved just a few miles east, next to Frank Rowe Furniture in Barling.
Evans Body Shop wants you to know that you are now able to get the repair process started on your schedule. With just a few clicks of your cell phone, you can send photos and your vehicle information directly to our shop. We will respond within 24 hours with a detailed estimate for repairs. It's that simple. We are here for you. Visit our website for all of the details. We offer complimentary pickup and drop-off as well, and extra steps are being taken to ensure your car is returned as good as new and completely sanitized.
Evans Body Shop, where we meet the nicest people by accident.
ESPN 95.3. The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson and Tommy Crabb.
When my time comes, I want to be buried face down so that anyone who doesn't like me can kiss my ass.
Follow the show on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine.
Talking ball with Kevin McPherson coming up here in just a sec. Before we do that, want to tell you about Ouachita Farms.
Yeah, state licensed cannabis farm right here in Arkansas that's locally owned by Arkansas people. They process, they're seed labeler located near Hot Springs and Hot Springs Village. They also have their products in 200 stores around the state. Hey, I would tell you about their family-owned, the Owen brothers. David's the CEO, his brothers Jeff, Mark, Mitchell, all born and raised in Hot Springs. Go to their website and check out their product lineup. It's WashitaFarms.com. And if you'll put in the code WPS15 when you're checking out, you get a pretty nice discount as well. All of their items are small batch made. Lab results are verified and published right on the website, so you know exactly what you are buying. So if you want to read about it, you want to learn more about it, I've got a lot of friends that use CBD oils, CBD products because they don't sleep well at night. They got pain in their knees. They got problems with shoulders. They got a lot of issues, and these products have helped rid the pain, have helped sleep better, have helped a number of issues. Couple drops at night, and they're not snoring as much, and their wife is thankful as well. Hey, you can stop in if you're in Central Arkansas or traveling through Hot Springs Village. Sample some of it. They have a tasting room on Highway 7 North, 3958 Highway 7 North in Hot Springs Village, or again, WashitaFarms.com. Do us a favor, use that code WPS15 when checking out. You get a healthy discount. They'll know you heard it here on the Morning Rush. That's WashitaFarms.com. And again, the checkout code WPS15. That's WPS15 at checkout, WashitaFarms.com.
Bringing in Kevin McPherson now. Kevin, we were just discussing Arkansas electing to vote in the 35-second shot clock for the 22-2023 season. Now it's already going to be implemented in the 6A by then, but just kind of your initial thoughts to when you saw this news break earlier this week.
Well, it's overdue. I mean, Arkansas basketball, it has come in so far, and if you look back at the last decade, the players, the level of talent that's coming out of the state to feed into the high major level and really all levels of Division I, Arkansas has made a lot of strides in terms of the quality and the culture in basketball, but without a shot clock, and we've seen a lot of states move to it, and I get to travel and watch a lot of different basketball in different places, it's a big difference at that level. And I think it promotes, it furthers players' skill level in dealing with situations. With no shot clock, it's not just about boring basketball. I think it also stymies the progress of players and their development because you don't really have to do a whole lot if you're standing there and you know, milking the clock down, and guys are standing around it, and it's just not, you know, it just does not promote the game, and I don't think it promotes development in the game. So I think it's a great idea. It's long overdue.
Kevin, when you look at this Arkansas basketball team, they got some major news when Isaiah Joe announced his return over the weekend. I know that a lot of players are excited. I know that you've got inside sources talking about what's going on in these in the training camp. Just kind of your biggest takeaways with what you've heard so far this last week or so when it comes to what's been happening with Arkansas basketball inside those practices.
Yeah, I mean, getting Isaiah Joe back is you're getting a pro. You know, I call it a 5-star recruiting win for Eric Musselman. He doesn't look at it as recruiting, but at the end of the day, you know, a guy that could have gone and taken a paycheck is coming back to play for you. So you're doing something right inside those doors for him to want to come back. And then the big takeaway really is he was absent the first couple of weeks. You've had a couple of guys that we know now have been injured, J.D. Notae, Bebe Iliola. Those guys have been out, but the takeaways for who's on the court, you know, a guy like Vance Jackson, they put him on the court this past week and let him, you know, work a little bit in that point forward spot that Mason Jones made famous in the SEC last year because his versatility and, at the end of the day, the ability to have a prolific scoring season, you know, unlike any that's been around in the SEC in 30 years. I'm not saying Vance Jackson's going to do that, but 6'9", pushing 240, we knew he was bringing perimeter skill, the ability to knock down threes, find little creative ways to drive down and get into, you know, scoring position in the paint in different places in the mid-range. And so, you know, if he's on the ball out on the floor at 6'9", 240, that's a matchup nightmare if he's able to actually – that translates to the season. So they looked at – that was a look they had. Everything I've heard about Justin Smith, the 6'7" grad transfer from Indiana, not only a big leaper, but his effort day to day, he's a guy that's going to make a difference. He put up career numbers last year at Indiana, nothing spectacular, you know, over 30 minutes, 10 points, 5 rebounds, but a guy I think Arkansas will be able to count on. And that reported 48-inch vertical leap is, you know, that's elite. I mean, that's as good as it gets basically. And so that's a guy that can not only finish in transition the way that fans is going to bring fans out of the seat, but I think it's a guy that's going to be able to have some versatility defending perimeter and inside. So those are some of the big takeaways on some of the newcomers. You know, Connor Vanover at 7'3", he's a guy that when we got to see him in practice last year, and you may remember this, Ty, you know, when the drill part of the work, he doesn't necessarily stand out, but when you get into the live competition stuff, 3-on-3, 5-on-5, he starts to come alive. You know, he was impressive in Arkansas's red-white game. His only real game action with fans in the seats last year. Thought he had a good game there. Hit about like 3 threes, 15 points. But I just think overall when you start piecing together the newcomers, and then that includes those freshmen, Moses Moody, Jalen Williams, K.K. Robinson, Devontae Davis, hearing good things about all those guys. Jalen Tate, the 6'6" grad transfer that's going to be that Jimmy Witt role defensively and kind of be a slasher and a combo guard on offense and bring the ball up some. I just think when you look at the collective unit, it stacks up for a team that can get back to the NCAA tournament. And then you put Isaiah Joe in there with the other veteran that's been around for a while, Desi Seals, another double-figure scorer, by the way. I think Arkansas's got the pieces to be deserving of some of these way too early top 25s. And the potential later, I think, and I've written about this, to maybe be a top 15 kind of a team that could potentially make a run in that NCAA tournament beyond the first weekend into a second weekend, which would be, if they did that, a first in 25 seasons.
Yeah, in a league that's going to be loaded and nationally really good this year. You listed a lot of pieces there. You named a lot of players. We've been kind of kicking around potential lineups this year. I'm of the belief the lineups may change based on who you're playing, that there may be as many as 10 players that see significant playing time this year. Who do you think are the 2 or 3 maybe absolute starters? I think like an Isaiah Joe, maybe a Moses Moody will be, you know, game in, game out starters. How do you see maybe a lineup getting constructed? Do you think it's going to be more of a game-to-game thing, or do you think there will be 5 players that will be more night-in, night-out guys for Eric Musselman?
Well, that's actually a key question, and Musselman's track record is a top 7 or 8 rotation. So that makes you tend to think that he's going to stick with a top 7 or 8, identify those early in camp. That's how he does it. And we saw some dynamics change on that even last year because Arkansas was so thin on that front line and they had injuries. So we saw a guy like Ethan Henderson. We saw times where it was Reggie Chaney. And typically those guys were kind of the 8th and 9th men, but they even found, you know, at different times their minutes and their roles increased. So I think with this team, you've got so much versatility, and it's the biggest Arkansas team. I don't remember the last time Arkansas had so much height and length. Mm-hmm. I think collectively, skill-wise, this is going to be the best three-point shooting and passing team. Those are things that lend themselves to Musselman's professed, you know, speed and space offense. So I think there's so much versatility in that lineup. I think he's got a lot of options that could bring starter value. So to answer your question, I'm not sure he's going to get outside of a top 7 or 8, but through the season, I think we might see 10 or 11 guys that move in and out of that rotation. Some of it based on matchups and personnel, some of it based on opportunity and development. Most certain guys might pass others. But at the end of the day, I think your Isaiah Joe is obviously a day one starter. I think a Moses Moody probably should be. We'll see. He's got to earn that. And then I look at Desi Sills as a guy with starter value. Whether he comes off the bench in a 6-man role or actually moves back into that starting lineup, I think he's a guy that's going to bring that kind of value. And those 3 grad transfers guys, they didn't come here to sit. Those guys are going to play significant roles. You know, you'll probably hear all 3 of those guys named in that starting lineup often, at least having big roles if they're playing somewhat off the bench. And then guys like Connor Vanover and J.D. Notte you set out last year, all we've heard are good things, and I think those guys are going to play significant roles as well.
You know, you could see last year, Kevin, that the frustration of having the lack of size. You know, having to watch Vanover sit on the bench, not having players over 6'9" available to Eric Musselman. He's going to, I think, relish and use that size in 1 or 2 spots, and probably two spots as often as possible, just because he remembers what last year was like, and having to go small so often, not having a lot of guys over 6'8" on the floor. So I'm sure he's devising a lot of plans to utilize the size that he all of a sudden has compared to last year's team.
Yeah, and let's look at it this way. Musselman likes to play a lot of 2-man game out front. We saw Mason Jones and Isaiah Joe actually setting screens and playing 2-man game with each other. Then Isaiah Joe got hurt. We saw even Adriel Bailey and Jalen Harris in that role trying to help Mason get screens and play off of that. You've got a huge talent, skill, and size influx upgrade when you don't have Adriel Bailey and Jalen Harris, but you've got guys like Connor Vanover, Vance Jackson, Justin Smith. You've got different types of guys that bring different things to the table that can finish a shot. So it doesn't have to be your best scorer that you've got to rely on to take shots as much now. It could be anybody, and I think they're really going to play a lot of space the floor and a lot of 5 out. Even with all that size, they're going to be able to do that. Then they're going to also be able to go inside. People don't always realize Connor Vanover is a tough shot maker in the mid post.
Working on that sky hook, Kevin. That's what we heard.
He's working on the sky hook. And look, defensively, he's a good volume shot blocker for the minutes he gets. And on top of that, who's counting? Where's the statistic on how many shots he alters and is going to alter? 7'3" with that length. He doesn't have to be quick of foot necessarily when he's playing inside. He's just got to turn. If he turns toward a guy, he's going to change their shot just by raising his arms.
Kevin McPherson with us here on the Morning Rush. Kevin, we haven't heard much chatter about the 2021 basketball recruits. I know there's some guys that they missed out on their top 8, top 6, or whatever. We know the 2022 in-state class is loaded, but what have you been hearing as far as 2021 recruits that may or may not commit to Arkansas as of late?
Well, a week ago I wrote a story about coaches around the country, including Arkansas, needing to possibly be more deliberate in recruiting because of the absence of live evaluation in the spring and summer. That's really my thrive time of year covering high school and grassroots basketball, because that's the evaluation time, and there's been no live eval. So to answer your question, Musselman in his press conference Monday sort of validated what I wrote a week ago. Look, Arkansas is going to take they've got things have changed because of the pandemic. They're probably going to go a little slower. Having said that, you look at the roster, we know there's 3 grad transfers leaving due to natural attrition in college basketball. You can probably double that number, 5 or 6 guys by the end of the year that you're replacing. And I think where are the areas of the biggest concern? Jalen Tate, 6'6", going to be gone, backcourt player. Isaiah Joe, probably going to get back in the draft and stay there next time, 6'5" perimeter player. Moses Moody could be Arkansas's first one and done. We don't want to jump ahead too far, maybe not, but another big guard, 6'6". So I think Arkansas is looking at big guards right now, and if you look at guys like James White, 6'5", out of Conyers, Georgia. You look at Chance Moore, who, by the way, is going to visit Fayetteville with his dad this weekend, a top ESPN top 44 national guy, another 6'5" guard out of Georgia. And you look at, so there's some big guards and wings that Arkansas is looking at 2021. And then when I'm looking at the front line, You're gonna. We just talked about the versatility of Vance Jackson and Justin Smith. The interesting piece with new associate head coach David Patrick and his ties to Australia and all the great recruiting he's done there in the past, guys like Patty Mills and Ben Simmons. You start looking at Australia, there's a couple of versatile combo forwards that are in the 6'9" to 6'11" range. David Okwara and a guy, a Cole Mulwayne, who I just wrote about in a story yesterday, that played here in Central Arkansas at Southwest Christian Academy. I got to cover him for a couple of seasons, a guy that had a really good year last year at Navarro College, JUCO in Texas. So keep an eye on those guys, that Australia connection, because David Patrick's had a lot of success with that, and I think he's already starting to kind of move pieces around the board to maybe set Arkansas up with bringing in players that he's had success with, the kind of players he's had success with out of his home country in the past.
I want to pair something together. You said earlier, you're talking about the 7-8 player rotation that Musselman has traditionally liked, and then the thought or the idea that I think is reality that you could have a shortened college basketball season. We've already seen Division II basketball shorten the season from 30 to 22 games. The idea that you could play only conference games, I think, is a real reality that we could be facing. We know you're long on juniors this year. You got an incoming freshman class. Could you see this program maybe utilizing or using some red shirts this year with players in order to maneuver some players around with their years? How do you think they'll maybe handle that if you have a severely shortened season due to the pandemic?
Yeah, that's another great question, because of all the unprecedentedness, that's not a word, but everything is new for everybody.
Right.
Players coming in now, these high school players don't expect a red shirt. They see themselves as having a short path to the next level. And when you've got 4 top 100 guys that made up a top 5 national class, according to ESPN, it's going to be hard to have that conversation with one of those guys, but they may have to do that. There's other players on the roster, if you look at it, that could potentially be a candidate for something like that, especially when you've had some injuries. So, but both of those injuries so far are guys that sat out last year. So Musselman's in a spot there. But you're right. It depends on how much they squeeze down this season. There could be potential to say, hey, guy, look, you're not going to get the most out of this season. We've got less time to, you're not necessarily in this top 7-8 rotation as it is, and now we've got fewer games. Maybe let's take a look at this. So I think that's a great question, especially with how Muss plays his rosters. That would maybe be a built-in reason to help convince somebody that let's take a year off here.
Kevin, as we let you go with this, man, Kentucky came into Fayetteville last year. Unfortunately, the Razorbacks lost a heartbreaker and kind of couldn't close it out down the stretch. This upcoming season, I think in the past decade, the Wildcats and the Razorbacks have only played twice in a season, and just once, and that was back in 2014. Kind of based on what's going on, how bad do you think Razorback fans, and particularly those players and that coaching staff, wants another shot at Kentucky in Bud Walton Arena with this current roster?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be, just like it was last year, it brought back memories of the mid-'90s, but you had all the students and fans outside just gathered in throngs. You remember that atmosphere, Ty. You were there. And I think that it's the whole thing. It's the pageantry. It's Kentucky. But it's also Arkansas had a good enough team to beat Kentucky last year. They almost did. The problem was Isaiah Joe, that was one of the games he played in injured. And I think that really, when you go back and look at those 11 games, 5 playing hurt, we didn't know how hurt he really was, but we figured that out because he missed 6 games because he had to have a procedure. Arkansas struggled 3-8. One of those losses was Kentucky, a game they could have won with a hobbled Isaiah Joe. And we just said it. Arkansas didn't have a lot of height and size. They didn't have a lot of depth. You get those guys back in Bud Walton Arena this coming season, I think the excitement level, as great as it was last year, I don't know how it could get better, but I imagine it would be. Now, we know the pandemic's going to squeeze off likely what crowds would look like and things like that, but that doesn't mean that excitement won't be generated. And I promise you, Eric Musselman is going to figure out a way to get the entire state somehow involved in some sort of celebration, even if it's in their own homes, as a lead up to that game.
And you bring up an excellent point. We'll top off the interview with this. Imagine, this is the most highly anticipated team, and some would say since the 90s. Imagine not being able, not because you can't sell the tickets, but because everything going around the world right now. Imagine telling fans that, hey, you can't go to this game, even though this team's top 25, even though they're playing Kentucky.
I mean, you're playing a lot of top 10 teams.
Yeah, even though the SEC is as loaded as it's going to be, Kevin, you can't fill up the arena, even though you want to more than anything.
And listen, Bud Walton Arena, when things are going, when Arkansas's got a good team, even when they're down, if you get good crowds in Bud Walton Arena, it's worth 3 or 4 possessions for you, 6 to 8 points. And so that factors in, too, to how good you can be. And you're going to be in some tight games or spots where you need that crowd's energy. Yeah, so from a fan standpoint, that's going to be tough. I think for the team, they feed off that kind of energy. People know Arkansas's got one of the best, basketball crowds in college basketball. And when things are rolling and that place is filled up, it makes a big difference. So there are many ways to look at that and say, man, thanks, coronavirus. I mean, really, I don't want to be too playful about that. It's been hard on a lot of folks, but as far as sports go, it's going to be hard enough to get on the court. Once you do, then you've got those factors that play in that are still, you realize things aren't normal.
Yeah. Kevin, appreciate your time as always, man. We'll talk whenever we talk to you next, dude.
Good to be with you guys. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Kevin. Brought to you by 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Back open on the Avenue Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 to midnight. Friday and Saturday, 4 to 1 a.m. Check out their Facebook page for the music schedule. Always some great live music every afternoon, and certainly on the weekends as well. You can always check that out on Facebook to see who's playing. Also, their new menu, whether it's the traditional 906 wings that we love here on the Morning Rush, or some of their new flatbreads, their great desserts, or the new sandwiches like the Classic Club, the BLT, the Chicken Pyro, the 906 Ultimate PB&J. They got some great stuff there. Plus, you'll find top-shelf wines and liquors that you won't find anywhere else. That is at 906. It's all on the Avenue, 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge, and with their state-of-the-art air filtration system, it's always a safe place to be as well. That's 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Sample, indulge, and escape at 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge on the Avenue in downtown Fort Smith.
We're bringing up the Kentucky game. It just seems like, unfortunate, whether it's the Kentucky game this past season, Alabama 2010, Texas shootout in 69. Why did all these games have to end in losses that were some of the best atmospheres, best plays, or whatever? I mean, because like Kevin said, I was there last year. Did you go last year? I don't remember if you did or not.
The Kentucky game? No, I watched on TV.
Well, you missed it.
I gave my tickets away.
You were a kind person.
Remember at the Christmas party, we gave our tickets away.
Yeah, so I gave I didn't. Shane was kind enough to give me some repertoire. I got I think a bunch of Outback gift cards and stuff, and he gave me some money as well for doing that. But that atmosphere, that game was incredible. But
I think about, I know Arkansas lost it badly. The USC football game in 06 was probably as anticipated a football game. But you're right. Arkansas always seems to come up short on those big atmospheres.
Yeah, that US. I didn't even think about that USC game. So because that atmosphere, and then you lose 50.
No one remembers the game. They remember Mitch Mustaine at the end of the game.
Yeah, and Dallas Washington picking that USC kick returner up. So and that to me was the highlight. And everyone got hyped. They held their own in the first half, and then second half, John David Booty and company just ran over that football team. But hopefully,
too many fumbles to start the game.
Yeah, hopefully you'll get to see. I know that everyone's excited for Arkansas football this year, but because of the basketball team, the relevance I think they're going to have in this conference, hopefully by then everything will get situated out with the coronavirus, because it again would be a true bummer if this team lives up to the hype and you couldn't fill up Bud Walton Arena. Because we talked about this with Phil Steele, which college football teams are going to be most impacted by not having full capacity stadiums. And he said Oregon, and he said Washington. Well, I guarantee if you ask a college basketball analyst which teams are going to be most impacted by not having a full venue, Arkansas is probably on their list.
I'm going to tell you, and it's going to be a battle in these practices for those last 2 or 3 starting roles on this team. That's going to be fun to watch unfold. Hey, we're brought to you by Gaston's White River Resort, 870-431-5202. Stop by this weekend. They're taking dinner reservations at that number. So if you'd like to have dinner this weekend or anytime this week, get a reservation, because it helps them plan and prepare, and it's really the way to go about having a great dinner that overlooks the White River. Saturday nights, they always have the prime rib on the menu, and you can check out the dinner specials online at gastons.com, and of course, their full menus as well. If you're staying on site, always a great thing to do, because they've got the grills right there. If you want to cook your own steak or grill out, you can do that in your private cabin. They got full kitchens in many of the lodges and cabins as well.
870-431-5202 to plan your trip, your getaway to Gaston's White River Resort on the beautiful White River. Gaston's, a first-class time every time.
Arkansas's home for the best sports talk.
I made a pizza with pork rinds and sour cream.
You're listening to The Morning Rush.
The Toyota Tundra and Toyota Tacoma. Load them up with all your favorite stuff.
Don't forget those sleeping bags.
And take off on your next epic weekend. Toyota trucks are made to go anywhere.
Hey, help me with these ATVs.
And do all the things you love doing.
Got one.
And when your day winds down, one thing is for sure.
What a day. Let's come back next weekend.
Absolutely nothing sounds better than an amazing weekend made possible by the virtually indestructible Toyota Tundra and Tacoma. Visit your local Toyota dealer or go to buyatoyota.com to find a great deal on the Go Anywhere, Do Anything 2020 Toyota Tundra or Tacoma and start making the most of your weekends. Toyota, let's go places.
If you have experience transporting frozen and refrigerated goods and want to be part of a trucking family with insurance and be home every week, you need to contact Brent Higgins Trucking. Since 1997, Brent Higgins Trucking in Mulberry has been proudly delivering to and from various areas of the United States, including but not limited to Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Brent Higgins Trucking, where you're a name, not a number. Contact them at 479-997-2366 or at BrentHigginsTrucking.com.
Hallelujah. Sports are back and so is fantasy football. Stay saucy and give your draft party what they really want. Wings! Fantasy football bundles are awaiting your arrival. Dine-in or takeout available. Prices vary. Did we forget to mention basketball? Bubble bundles starting at only $29.99. Hey, get to Buffalo Wild Wings, cure your cravings, and watch the magic happen on our wall-to-wall TVs. Don't wait up. They know where to find you. Buffalo Wild Wings. Roar!
Some buffalo wings.
Tell it at participating locations: Fort Smith, Little Rock, Conway, Jonesboro, and Sherwood.
Did you know that you can get your car serviced or repaired without ever leaving your house? All you have to do is call Jody's Auto Service Center at 479-649-3399. Jody's will pick up your vehicle, service or repair it for you, and return it fully disinfected to your driveway. Pickup and delivery is free for jobs $75 or more. Jobs less than $75 can be picked up and returned for a $10 fee. Let Jody's Auto Service Centers handle all your service and vehicle repair needs. Call 479-649-3399. Jody's Auto Service Center.
In sports, success is measured in the number of points scored, in games won, and in championships earned. At Shelter Insurance, we measure success in the quality of our products and services, in our community support, and being there when you need us. In fact, 9 out of 10 people surveyed with a claim would recommend Shelter to a friend. Shelter Insurance. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Ask Tiffany Newman in Mulberry or Warren Robertson in Alma about Shelter's home insurance.
Did you invest in real estate only to find out that real estate takes up too much of your time? If you answered yes, then it's time to make a call to the experts. With more than 30 years of combined property management experience and more than 16,000 units managed, Trinity Multifamily are the ones to call. Get your life back. Call Trinity Multifamily at 479-452-1817 or online at trinitymultifamily.com. Trinity Multifamily, your teammate in the real estate game.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging. Do you hate your current mailing machine? Is dealing with that giant company not worth the effort any longer? That's the issue we had at Dixie Digital. While looking for a better solution for our own use, we partnered with FP for mailing and mailroom solutions. We now offer access to FP's entire line of postage machines, folder inserters, software, and more. Local service with a local company. For more information, give Dixie Digital a call at 783-6600 or visit our website at dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing document innovations to the River Valley.
Have your travel plans changed? Looking for a place that's close to home and keep your family safe? Gaston's White River Resort is located on the beautiful White River. They offer private accommodations in their lodges and cabins. Most cabins have a fully equipped kitchen or let their restaurant staff deliver to your cabin. Call 870-431-5202 and change your plans to Gaston's White River Resort. Gaston's White River Resort, a first-class time every time.
Divorce is never easy. Many times problems continue to arise long after the divorce is over. If you are dealing with a high conflict custody or visitation issue, you need an attorney that handles those specific type of cases. Call the attorneys at Kevin Hickey Law Partners for immediate assistance with your situation. Kevin Hickey Law Partners, able to handle high conflict custody cases all over the state of Arkansas and other states. Check out kevinhickeylaw.com or call 479-434-2414 in Fort Smith and 479-802-6560 in Northwest Arkansas.
Harry Robinson Buick GMC has over 200 pre-owned vehicles to choose from luxury to economy and everything in between, including over 50 great vehicles with payments under $250 a month, certain to fit your needs and your budget. And at Harry Robinson Buick GMC, you always get more for your trade. 50 vehicles with payments under $250 a month at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off I-540 in Fort Smith.
ESPN 95.3. The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson and Tommy Crabb.
Man, once you're a hog, dog. Come on. That's just the way it is. I'm not trying to call a number.
Call or text The Morning Rush at 877-377-6963.
My official call-in.
Talked about Treylon Burks a little bit yesterday. I want to talk about him some more because there are a lot of people that are thinking he's really going to emerge in Kendall Briles' offense. We'll talk about that coming up on the Morning Rush. Before we do that, I want to tell you about the Fence Man.
I've been seeing some of these things on social media, too, about powered automatic gates. You might think these are, out of reach financially. You might find that these are more affordable, and you don't have to go somewhere else to get them done. The Fence Man does these and can find a way to do them affordably for you. Call the Fence Man, 479-782-3936. Maybe you got a farm or a second home, a place that needs the solar openers because power can't be run or it's too far. The options there. They do those as well. We were just talking to Sean about it just a few weeks ago, the solar-powered gate openers. So anything involving a fence, call the Fence Man. You might be surprised how quick and affordable they can get some things done for you. 479-782-3936. Any kind of fencing, commercial, residential, they do everything you might need. 479-782-3936. Northwest Arkansas, the River Valley, Eastern Oklahoma, South Arkansas, they handle it all. And 18-month, same as cash financing available as well. 782-3936 for the Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
You look at Treylon Burks this past season, his receiving average was only third in the SEC, trailing Justin Jefferson and Jalen Waddle, two most explosive, best wide receivers in the conference this past season. Averaged over 16 yards per catch. Had only 475 yards last year. Look for that number to go up. You think about his recruitment out of high school. Number one player in the state of Arkansas, according to 24/7. 103rd in the country, 16th best wide receiver in all of high school football in this past class. Had offers to LSU, Clemson, Florida State. The list goes on and on and on. Think back to this past season. He's having a conversation to get caught on camera on ESPN with Ed Orgeron, and there is just a freak out within the Arkansas fan base because, oh my gosh, Treylon Burks is leaving to go to LSU. Now, obviously, that's not the case, but people were freaking out at the time because they saw him have a little conversation. I have no idea what
they were talking about.
I had no idea what he said, but based on what you saw, Joe Burrow, Joe Brady, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Thaddeus Moss, and those guys doing that offense, people are freaking out. He's trying to recruit Treylon on the field. He's trying to bring him over. And that freaked a lot of people out. Luckily, he's still on campus. He's still one of the best playmakers in this conference, and he's in an Arkansas uniform. You got to get him the football this year. You cannot stress that enough. Here's an article from 24/7 Sports. Here's an excerpt from that talking about players, not only the SEC, but outside the conference that they think are going to step up. And Treylon Burks is one of those. One of the reasons that Chad Morris's offense struggled this past season, and it was funny, I heard Trey Biddy ask this question almost every single press conference, and I think Chad had an excuse for every single time. Oh, we tried to get him the football. We tried to do this, tried to do that. And Trey is just going like irate. It's like, just get him the football. Just get a playmaker the ball, and you didn't do it last year. You didn't do it in the red zone. You didn't do it between the 20s. Like, it was unbelievable how one of the best, if not the best playmaker outside of Rakeem Boyd didn't get enough touches last year. That's why you're hoping, you're craving, you're just imploring Kendall Briles, dude, just get him the football.
I mean, the no touchdowns is a crime in itself, but in the 475 yards, even an equal or bigger crime. I mean, just the lack of touches, the lack of targets, and it's not like this guy doesn't have the skills or the abilities. I mean, you just have to sit and wonder.
His hands are like glue. Have you seen him catch a football?
I mean, you just
They're
have to
huge.
wonder, what are you thinking when devising a game plan? And then you can't sit down and put a game plan together and not include this player and include Burks into, hey, here's how we get a mismatch. Here's how we exploit a defense. So then surely that was part of it. So what happens? Where's the breakdown between the game plan that's devised during the week and executing that on Saturday? Where is the disconnect? So I have a lot more faith that this year Treylon Burks is going to be a big part of exploiting opposing defenses.
6'3", around 230, and we failed to mention, now we mentioned the deficiencies on the special teams unit under Chad Morris at Arkansas. One of the bright spots outside of Connor Limpert was Treylon Burks returning punts, averaged over 10 yards per return, which ranked 15th nationally. And what was so spectacular is how he would fair catch a football. You ever seen this dude's paws? They're freaking huge, man. He's got some massive mitts up there, and he is, and like Auburn, LSU, like every time one of their the kickoff coverage men would come down the field, they would point to a teammate. Like, are you watching how he catches the ball? Unbelievable football player. Take advantage of him this year. 877-377-6963, the number to call or text in. Carl in Lavaca wants to jump in on this conversation. Carl, you're on the Morning Rush.
Hey, y'all did a great job of just touching on how talented Treylon Burks is. And like Tommy said, it's a crime the man didn't score a touchdown last year. I mean, outside of Rakeem Boyd, he clearly the most dynamic playmaker on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, the guy averaged 16 yards a catch last year. And also just having 400-some yards, however many he had,
475
isn't enough.
Yeah, Carl, it'd be one thing if he had 1,100 yards and no touchdowns. It'd be one thing if he had 1,200 yards, no touchdowns. It'd be one thing if he had 900 yards, no touchdowns. 475, I mean, it's like a role player. Well, this guy's far better than a role player.
Right. I mean, granted, there wasn't a cornerback last year. I mean, there's NFL written all over SEC cornerbacks in the SEC West, and Derek Stingley Jr., who'd probably be a first-round pick in 2 years, couldn't cover him one-on-one. Christian Fulton couldn't cover him one-on-one. I mean, granted, we didn't do anything against Bama, but y'all remember the two highlights, the two deep balls KJ Jefferson threw him against LSU. I mean, he went up and just mossed two LSU defenders. And we haven't had that in I don't know how long. I think Treylon Burks has the talent to play on Sundays. I think he has the talent. If he's used right in Kendall Briles' offense, I think he could leave after his junior year because I just think he's that talented, how dynamic he is returning the football on kickoffs, punts, and also, lastly, Ty, his hands are massive. I mean, the guy catches punts like he catches just a 5-yard out route. It's freakish. It's weird. It scares me every time. But, I mean, the guy's raw. He bleeds Arkansas through and through. He's a pretty simple guy from what I've heard. But I hope we get the football to him more. And Kendall Briles has seemed to have done that with pass receivers like Corey Coleman that he's had and different playmakers he's had like Cam Akers and guys like that. So that's all I got for today.
Thanks, Carl. Keep in mind, 1,000 yards this year is like 1,200, 1,300 in any other year. Because if you play 10 games this year, I mean, how much more is it valued this year playing 10 SEC games versus not having a non-Power 5, non-conference game on your schedule to pad those numbers up? So my point is, whether it's a running back or a wide receiver, whatever the normal benchmark you declare, boy, that's a great season. Let's just say it's 1,000 yards. You get 1,000 this year in 10 games against SEC schools. That's like having 1,300 or whatever, 1,200 yards against a normal year.
Yeah, no, exactly right. And he mentioned the mossing of Christian Fulton and Derek Stingley Jr. of LSU. Also go back to the Mississippi State game. KJ Jefferson's first drive, second play, just throws a fade route. What does Treylon go do? He goes up against the football. Just throw him the ball in 2020. Good grief.
Hey, Art's Barbecue and Burgers, one of our favorite places to chow down. Should be one of yours as well. They got drive-up service. You can call ahead at 452-2550. They'll have it ready. You can drive up to their pull-up window, pick up your order. They use the Waiter app, too, so you can have it brought to you. Their burgers are great.
Their barbecue, we love the baby back ribs there. Something a little different, but you'll love it, is the kickin' chicken. It is
fantastic.
Fantastic. If you haven't tried it, try it on their menu at Arts. Rogers Avenue next to Aaron's in Fort Smith, 452-2550 for call-ahead service at Arts Barbecue and Burgers.
Speaking of Arts, What's Your Beef Wednesday on the way. Get them in next.
Build your business with 100% fiber, internet, voice, and cloud services from Ritter Communications. Whether you're a one-man woodworking shop who needs fast, reliable internet complete with TV service, or you're a construction enterprise needing managed voice and networking to connect your multiple sites, our helpful, Arkansas-based team will create a custom solution for you. Visit RitterBusiness.com or give them a call at 888-336-4249 to learn more.
The Powerball jackpot from the Arkansas Scholarship Lottery is now more than $100 million. So, what would you do if you won?
If I won the jackpot, I would buy my own racehorse.
If I won the lottery, I would buy my wife a beach house.
First person I would call would be my husband. He's got a big mouth, but I would still call him first.
Got your ticket? If not, visit your local lottery retailer for your chance to win the Powerball jackpot of more than $100 million. This is winning. Call 1-800-522-4700 for Problem Gambling Helpline.
Are your appliances struggling? Do you need that part and not sure where to go? Mid-South Distributing has you covered with 9 locations in the Arkansas area. Appliance parts and accessories for all major brands of appliance. Mid-South Distributing has you, the customer, in mind when you're needing that part for your appliance. Mid-South Distributing. Check out midsouthparts.com to find your location near you. Mid-South Distributing. We're in your neighborhood.
Tommy Kraft here for The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building your next fence. The Fence Man recently built new gates for my existing fence. The whole process was easy, quick, and most importantly, affordable. Plus, 18 months same as cash financing with approved credit is now available with The Fence Man. If you need a new fence, gate, or anything that involves a fence, call The Fence Man, 479-782-3936. That's 782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
This time of year is hectic, and we know you have things to do and places to be. Southern Tire Mart can help you get there and save you money on America's most trusted brands like Michelin and BF Goodrich. Take advantage of our $29.95 oil change, which includes a 27-point vehicle inspection. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart just off I-540 at exit 14 in Fort Smith today for quality Michelin and BF Goodrich tires and the best-in-class service. Get where you need to be with Michelin, BF Goodrich, and Southern Tire Mart.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
Attention Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative members. Do you need a better internet provider? One who treats you like a member and not a number? Then check out our new fiber internet services from Wave Rural Connect. We are bringing state-of-the-art, high-speed fiber, internet, TV, and phone services right into your home. If you are an Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative member, go to waveruralconnect.com to sign up. That's waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-4WAVE-RC. Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Your locally owned TGI Fridays in Fort Smith is now open for dine-in, curbside to go, and delivery for both lunch and dinner, 7 days a week. TGI Fridays is taking your safety seriously, following every guideline. Enjoy Fridays favorites like appetizers, burgers, sandwiches, salads, all the great Fridays, signature entrees, kids meals, and great desserts. TGI Fridays, now open for dine-in, curbside to go, and delivery. Call 479-484-0906. That's 484-0906. Or order online at Fridays.com. Your locally owned TGI Fridays at I-540 in Rogers and Fort Smith.
Woo! It's hotter than blazes outside. But you don't have to stop, drop, and roll to beat this heat. Because right now you can shop, swap, and roll into a nicer, newer car. Hi, folks. Larry Rath here from Rath Auto Resources. I've teamed up with dealers nationwide to launch an end-of-summer car swap, where you can swap your current car for one of our Rath Road-Ready vehicles, each one hand-picked and inspected in our Meineke Car Care Center. Even if you're still making payments, and regardless of age, mileage, or condition, you can stop by with your current ride and swap it for a nicer, newer car today. Plus, Rath Auto Resources has payments that work with almost any budget. So come on on down to Rath Auto Resources, the only local dealer participating in the end of summer car swap. Keeping the car you have? Let us get it ready for summer in our Meineke Car Care Center with free AC checks, half off brakes, and buy 3 get 1 free on all tires. Only at Arkansas's favorite used car dealer, Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, where you can shop, swap, and roll into a nicer, newer car today. Come see us at 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith, or online, rathauto.com.
Are your workouts more fun than this? Well, if they are, then I want to sign you to an endorsement deal with Michelob Ultra. I'm looking for anyone and everyone who makes working out a blast. If that's you, head to teamultra.com for a chance to score awesome perks like Team Ultra gear and more. That's teamultra.com to enter.
No purchase necessary. Open U.S. residents 21 plus. See official rules at teamultra.com. Message and data rates may apply. Void where prohibited. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Clear sky tonight. An overnight low will drop down in the upper 50s to lower 60s. Whole lot of sunshine for Wednesday. Our high in the low to mid 80s. Thursday, sunshine. A slight chance of seeing a shower or storm or two. Our high upper 80s. And a better chance of showers and storms Thursday night. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Weather is brought to you by OG&E Weatherization Program for Arkansas customers with homes at least 10 years old. Call 1-800-272-9741 for details or log on to OGE.com.
You're listening to The Morning Rush live from the Busch Light Studios on ESPN 95.3 KERX Paris Fort Smith. This hour of The Morning Rush is brought to you by Bud Light, brewed with the best barley, rice, water, and hops to be America's favorite light beer. Bud Light, please drink responsibly.
Hey, this is Darren McFadden. You're listening to The Morning Rush.
Live from the Busch Light Studios.
You're causing a major disturbance on my time.
If I'm here and you're here, doesn't that make it our time?
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station. Streaming live from
HitThatLine.com.
There's a lot of lions, tigers, and bears, but there ain't but one razorback. Number one.
This is The Morning Rush.
Borderline erotic.
With Ty Richardson.
Sunshine. That's cool. I can dig it.
And Tommy Kraft.
Do I look happy? What's wrong? Lloyd!
The Morning Rush starts right now.
Hour number 3 of the Morning Rush coming at you. We're shifting What's Your Beef Wednesday a little earlier this morning as we're going to welcome in Mike Golick Jr. of ESPN Radio to the show later at 8:45 this morning. Make sure you stay tuned for that. Really excited. It's going to be more actually like 8:40 or so. So make sure you get in here about then and for just stay listening the whole show for that matter because it is going to be a great interview. Going to talk with him about Notre Dame and a bunch of other stuff. And as a former offensive lineman, want to get his take on Sam Pittman and how he's going about things. But as we start on 8 o'clock on a Wednesday, it is What's Your Beef? Get him in 877-377-6963.
What is wrong with you?
I want to complain.
I'm complaining. I want to complain about complaining.
I want to complain.
It really pisses me off today.
To simply listen to people whine and complain.
I'm angry. I'm spitting angry. I'm like a tornado of anger, swirling about. My heart rate is dangerously high right now.
I'm complaining because not enough people tickle, hug, or smile.
I'm so mad I could eat ball bearings and crap BBs.
It's time for What's Your Beef Wednesday.
The great thing about today is I'm going to meet my buddies Gross and Eberly at 12 o'clock at CJ's Butcher Boy Burgers. It's been way too long since I've had it. Last time I was there, I just got a strawberry shake, which is always fantastic. But the great thing about it, big announcement for everyone listening, CJ's is opened up as of this week, their dining room, their lobby to limited capacity. So you can finally sit down and eat that delicious Butcher Boy Burger at both locations. The Russellville location, the original, Exit 81 on Arkansas Avenue, and then the newest location in Fayetteville on Weddington Drive. At the Fayetteville location, if you don't want to eat inside, that's fine. You can order online. You can order on the app. You can pick it up the drive-thru. You can pick it up curbside.
Yeah.
At the Russellville location, you can either eat inside or call in. So a number of different ways, and I'm excited to get a nice little base layer in at 12 o'clock today.
I need to eat inside, and this has really kind of dampened or hampered my CJ's time the last few weeks because when you go to CJ's, they let you get the toppings and build the burger the way you want it. And I want the grilled onions and the mushrooms and all the tomatoes and all the things they allow you to adorn your burger with. Well, if I eat it in the car, it all ends up in my lap. So I need to be able to really get both elbows up on the table and get after this burger at CJ's.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that Keith is back in business in the dining room in the dining room business.
And I'm excited to see
It's
him.
good for my dry cleaning bill.
The last 2 times I've been in there, he has not been in there, so it'll be good to catch up. I saw Hayden, his son. We talked for a little bit a couple times ago, but it'll be good to see Keith down there. And so stop on by CJ's Butcher Boy Burgers. Again, 2 great locations. CJ's Butcher Boy Burgers. When all you do is burgers, they have to be the best.
Now, don't overdo it today, and don't get anything on you because you're going to be talking to Madison on the
that
phone
is an
at
excellent point.
about 4:30.
That's the rumor going
Don't
around.
overindulge and then not be in peak physical condition for your phone call today.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. So Bill and Van Buren has texted in. It's a big day for Ty.
It
Doug
is.
in Mountain Home has texted in. Said, I'm looking forward to 4:30. Are you?
Yeah.
For those just listening now.
Could be the biggest day of your life.
Could be the biggest day of my life. This is my beef on this day.
Jenkins, are you worried? It might just be me and you on Monday. I mean, I'm a little.
Might be a new morning rush come Monday.
I mean, I don't know what might happen out of
I guarantee if she gives him the choice, come to Auburn.
We're out.
Me and you.
I think, you know what's funny? The wedding that I'm attending this weekend, the groom and bride are huge Bachelor fans. They're huge Madison fans. So I think they would understand at the drop of the hat if I decided to skip the wedding. And
well, hang on. Do you have a date for the wedding?
Do I have a date for the wedding? That's an excellent point, too. So, and
you got to have these things figured out.
And it's in Tennessee, which is, I think,
How
close to
far
Auburn or Birmingham, wherever.
Yeah, I mean, that's not
I don't know
that
if she's
far.
in Auburn or Birmingham right now.
It's
So-
a hop, skip, and a
You
jump.
got till 4:30 to
That's
figure
an
these
excellent
things
point.
out.
All right, so for those wondering what the heck me, Jenkins, and Tommy and our texters are talking about, if you haven't heard, Mr. Zach Arns of Ruskin and Zach has apparently, and I say apparently because I'm still not 100% sure he's being factual and being truthful with me. He told me not only on FaceTime, through text, has addressed it several times on his show as of yesterday, that Madison Pruitt is coming on today at 4:30. For those wondering, who is Madison Pruitt? She was a part of The Bachelor this past season. Her dad is the director of basketball ops on the Auburn basketball program, and she might be the most beautiful girl in the entire world, which in turn is going to be a problem for me because I can talk to Darren McFadden. I can talk to Ken Hatfield. I can talk to legends that I either grew up watching, listening to, whatever. But when a cute girl is presented in front of me for the first time or for whatever, it typically doesn't go as well as some of these legendary interviews that we do on this station. You would think a guy that is as eloquent as this is standoff, and it's just as fantastic as I am when I do interviews on these sports radio, that would translate to when he talks to girls. Not so much. Not the case. So
confidence dissipates.
It dissipates quite quickly.
But
so,
I think you'll be good because it's a phone call.
and it's a phone call. We're not looking face to face.
What
So
would
we'll
be
see.
even better is if this is a Zoom call. If
We're
she
not-
zooms in, my God.
We're not going to do that. So, and again,
I wouldn't put
Arns past you. So I think the plan is we're going to live stream
She
it.
could FaceTime, right? I don't know if you could pass that. No, it probably it's got to be through the phone system.
The phone
that
system.
That doesn't work
That's a
with
good
our
point.
technology.
So,
I didn't think about that.
Bill and Van Buren suggest
Arns is probably a step ahead on that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Bill and Van Buren suggests I should slug some alcohol before the show, which is not a terrible
Well,
idea.
that
I
may
will
be
say.
maybe an FCC violation.
Now,
So you got to drive back here too.
Well, the show's 3 hours, so I can sober up by then. So it's liquid courage. I will say I'm better with liquid courage in my system than just being dead sober. But Madison,
Text from the 501. Would you take her last name? That's a very good
that's
question.
a great question.
I think he would to get into that situation.
You sacrifice. Marriage is all about sacrifice,
Yeah,
right? So again, but no, we're really excited. And again, I'm not 100%. There's a good chance that Zach could be screwed. And listen, my beef would be if all this was a ruse, if all this was a joke, if it did it's I wouldn't do that to Zach. I would, if you heard his Faith Hill story yesterday, or you heard it for the first time, or if you've listened to it on their podcast, I would not set up an interview with Faith Hill only to stab him in the back and it not actually be Faith Hill. I would actually follow through. So there, a little part of me.
I think if you could, you would.
I would not do that to Zach because I know that's an emotional, painful part of his life. I would not. I promise I would not actually do that. So my beef is only going to be a beef if this interview doesn't happen today. I will immediately. I'll state for the record now, and I'll do it when we come on because I'm going to be on their show from 3 to probably 5 today, assuming this goes well. I will state as soon if I hear Madison Pruitt's name or if I hear her voice on the other line, immediately say, "Hey, Madison, I got to do this real quick." I'm going to look directly in Zach's eyes and go, "Zach, I apologize." I'll just be straight up, dude, man to man. I apologize for not doubting you. He'll get his hearty hearts. He'll joke with me, and then we'll hopefully go on the interview because according to him and according to Jason Carroll, they're not going to ask any questions. They might jab me from time to time, but
it's all
on me.
All
so
right.
I think I spent more time prepping on the interview yesterday than the entire show prep this morning. I text probably.
Time out. You have wait, hang on. I don't have. You have a rundown for this today?
Yes. I'm not going to go into it.
Give us a sample question.
We need to preview this.
Throw us a bone here. Give one.
Saving it. Nope. It's getting saved till today because I'm not.
You seriously have something in Google Docs for this today?
Yes. Why? I have Google Docs every interview we do. Why would I change it up?
There's a big difference between Darren McFadden and Madison Pruitt for a Google Doc.
I'll give you an A+ for preparation.
You see the damn Google Docs every single time I do an interview, and this is like new to you?
But this is
different.
This is different.
You're right. It's bigger. This is the biggest interview.
You're right. There's more at stake for you. I didn't consider that.
There is more. I am more nervous about this interview today than when it was when I came in interview with this job. Period. I felt confident. I felt fine. I was like, I'm going to get this job, and I did.
Now, Jenkins, I'm not here tomorrow. I'm taking the day off tomorrow. So
I'll take care of it.
If this goes, I don't know how. I have no idea what's going on today.
I don't either.
As honest as I can be. So, big guy, it's on you.
I got it. I think the bad thing is
if we have a cleanup on aisle 4, I'm not here to help you tomorrow. All right.
I think the bad thing is tomorrow.
It's on you and Clay.
I was going to say that's the bad part because if this goes bad, it's Clay Henry that he gets to soak his tears to tomorrow.
Yeah, it's that, and that's not Clay's just gonna have fun screwing with me. So let's go through some of these texts. JT asked over under 4 minutes before Ty gets in the way of Ty.
Under, way under.
I'll give you confidence, buddy.
Okay, so at least
I'll give
4
you
minutes.
5.
I mean, I've got the questions prepped out. I've done my research.
Yeah,
I've
but your mouth
to some
has
Auburn
to
people.
enter. It's kind of like, hey, they knew Treylon Burks last year was a playmaker. But somehow between the coach's conference room and the game film and the field, they could not. They couldn't make it happen. So somehow your mouth might get in the way.
TW and Russell will ask if I'm going to ask Mike Golick Jr. for some Madison advice. I'll probably not. I will stick that. Now, I've asked some Auburn fans. I asked my buddy that lived in Auburn. I asked family members. I asked some friends that watched The Bachelor, just like various people, various sources yesterday. But listeners, if you have some advice or if you have a question you think I should ask, feel free to text them in. It's 877-377-6963. Jason texted in. He says, "Don't tell her about liking ketchup on your steak."
Yes.
That conversation is probably not going to come up. So
that probably not only would put her out, but if her dad found out, you'd be done.
Yeah, that would.
Because that's the other thing. You
probably need to go
Daddy.
back and find all the podcasts that contain any conversations. This is one of those things that we talk about scrubbing your social media.
Mm-hmm.
When you do find the right woman, you probably need to scrub that part so her dad could never get a hold of it.
The ketchup on the steak?
The ketchup on the steak part.
Okay. I'll remember that.
Yeah, it might be
something to remove
when
from
you ask for the hand in marriage and he finds out about ketchup on the steak. That could be a no-go.
Okay. Derek from Fayetteville texts in. He says, "I feel the same way about Madison as you do, Ty. I'm nervous for you, and I will have beef if it doesn't happen. Again, my only beef as of today is going to be if Zach is just completely
pulled the rug out
screwing
from under
me.
you.
Yeah, and again,
I'm going to hurt for you.
I will be a straight-up man and apologize before we get in the interview. Zach, I apologize for not believing that you were being truthful to me. But if it goes the wrong way, then I honestly don't know what I'm going to do. It's going to be an entertaining 4:30 regardless if you're tuning in today to Ruskin and Zach.
I have a round of golf planned this afternoon, and I am playing. What time is this? 4:30?
4:30 is what?
I'm going to be somewhere near mid back 9 at that point. and I'm going to stop what we're doing to listen. We're going to tune in, hit that line.
Because you care about him.
Exactly. I care
You
about
want the best
Ty.
for you.
I don't
You want the best for your boy.
I want the best for my boy. And yeah, I mean, I don't want the last 3 holes to go bad.
It's either gonna be
so, and I don't want it to be a waste of my time either.
It's either gonna be the greatest 20
and
minutes.
I don't want to have to come back to do the show tomorrow if you're in pieces. I mean,
Okay.
do I need to take the stuff with me just in case?
You might need to.
I'll just throw the best.
I think
stuff
it's going to
on.
be you and Clay.
What's the overall goal for this? Are you just wanting to get to know Madison, or are we trying to
I mean,
put your cards on the table?
I have no idea. Like, Orange is wanting me to ask her out. I'm probably not going to put her on the spot. That doesn't come across as something I would do. But
But women like men to be forward.
Yeah, but forward face to face, not through
fair.
text, not through a radio show. Orange is going to give me a hard time if I don't end up asking her out. And I probably am going to stay away from it. I'm going to stay away from the Bachelor stuff, stay away from that.
What if she calls the Hogs?
Here's the okay. I'll give you one tidbit that I was.
she already has his heart. I don't know.
That's
that she's
that's
that
good
far.
point. Yeah.
I think that would take it over the top. Here's the one. Here's the one tidbit that I was going to ask. The bet I was going to place at the end of the show. Arkansas is going to play Auburn in basketball this year. The first game, the bet I was going to ask her is like, as we're closing out, hey Madison, let's stop off the interview. I got a bet for you. If Auburn beats Arkansas in the first basketball game of the season, I will wear all Auburn stuff during the show and do whatever their chant is. Do we know what their chant? I know like Ole Miss is like flim flam, Ole Miss by whatever. Does Auburn have like a
War Eagle? They just walk around and they look at you, War Eagle.
I'll say War Eagle once an hour or so. But the opposite end of that bet is Madison, if the Hogs win, you have to call the Hogs on video in front of Jordan-Hare Stadium in a hog hat. Fair or foul?
Fair.
Like me during the whole show, 3 hours with Auburn stuff, having to do War Eagle, whatever. Her taking a 10-second video calling the Hogs, 15 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad bet. So we'll see. But again,
hopefully she's a good sport.
Yeah, no, I think she would be. Again, hopefully it will go out today. I already got something texting in the 501, ask her on the date. He said, Orange can't give you any crap after the Fate Hill story, which...
I'm glad you said crap and inserted the word that
I listen, I'm not that stupid. I know there's words that we could say.
Sometimes you just read what's on the teleprompter, Ron Burgundy.
I know there's words that could be said on...
Thanks for not reading what was on the teleprompter.
So, yeah. Guys, if you're going to text in stuff...
Yeah, please don't text in words because the boys' head's a mess right now.
Yeah, it's
a mess.
It's in fury. So
it's in Auburn, Alabama right now.
What I've described this day at 4:30 today, you know the scene in Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade when his dad gets shot and he has to go get the cup of Christ, and because it's the not the covenant of Christ, that's the Ark of the Covenant. What's the whatever it is where you can drink
the crystal deal, or what? I don't know. It's been 30 years.
What he drinks out of
the original one?
Yeah, what he drinks out of, and that you can be like, and I can't think of what it is, but you know what I'm talking about. And there's the scene after you have to pass those levels of tests, like the penitent man where he has to bend over and kneel so he doesn't get chopped off by the heads or whatever. And then the third process of that, because he has to spells out Jehovah and step on the blocks that won't break. The third process of that, is when he has to just put blind faith in because you can't see the runway and pass. And so he has to just step his foot out and eventually, that's what I'm doing with Orange today at 4:30.
Yeah.
Like I am stepping my foot out and hoping to God that there is a bridge there. Because otherwise, I'm just going to fall flat on my face and be heartbroken at 4:30. Now, again, there's a reward at the end of the tunnel if Orange is telling me the truth and being truthful with me and doing that. But again, it's the Grail, the Holy Grail.
The Holy Grail.
Good grief. Thank you, Rod.
So, again, all of this is timing up with the second round of golf I've played this year. And I may or may not be a little bit inebriated by then, so I need you to hold it together. I really don't plan on driving back to bail you out. So.
Yeah, Clay and Jenkins might have to do this show tomorrow because again, it's gonna be the most anticipated 20 minutes of radio in my entire life, and it's either
even more than Darren McFadden.
Yeah, even more than Darren McFadden.
Oh.
But again, that went good. Like I was a little nervous, but I was like, listen,
second greatest Razorback of all time.
Yeah, well, don't make me hit you this morning this early.
It's Allworth and then Darren McFadden.
Yeah, so
Joe Klein.
Let's not start on that. So, but yeah, we'll see. There's either going to be good solid radio for 20 minutes, or it's going to be a straight implosion.
No,
so it's not going to be anywhere in between.
Win or lose for you, it's going to be fantastic radio for 20 minutes.
Oh, it absolutely is. And listen, the majority of the time we like to talk sports and stuff. I know Ruskin and Zach kind of have a different vibe up there, but it's going to be fascinating radio. And I've gotten text in from friends, and it's funny how
they have a different vibe.
Yeah, that's the best way.
Probably the best way to describe it.
The most politically correct way to vibe it. To describe it, it's funny. Like the different variations of text I've gotten from friends is pretty hysterical. Like some friends have texted me in that have found out a bit. This and dude, it's like, dude, you're gonna kill it. Blah blah blah. The others have texted in. It's like, I can't wait to listen to you at 4:30, make an absolute fool of yourself. It's fun. And listen, guys like to give each other crap more than girls do. And so my friends who have no problem making fun of me to begin with will only up the ante times 1,000 if I blow this today. So that's why you're making fun of me. Or that's why I'm prepping today.
I'm just hoping someday in 18 or 24 months from now, I actually get an invite to the wedding. That's all I'm.
See, let's not.
But this is where it all starts here
today. This is where it begins, and I can.
This is where every good love story starts.
At least maybe as I'm rubbing elbows, maybe Bruce Pearl is there or whoever.
Yeah.
Maybe I can. Who are you and why are you here?
Exactly.
I can tell the story.
Yeah.
Well, I was here the day that, I
Mama,
can take it back to the Genesis.
Mama, how did you meet your husband, Daddy?
Well, I mean, I'm not getting that far ahead, but I mean,
hey, you never know.
Well, the running joke at the radio station for quite some time is after The Bachelor, many people thought that Madison Pruitt was going to be the next Bachelorette. And when you're on that show, you're gone anywhere from 2 to 3 months. And I was asking Tommy, it's like, Tommy, I might have to apply an audition for the show. if I get it, am I good? Is my job going to get?
And I said, go ahead. I wasn't really worried.
Yeah, he wasn't worried. And she didn't end up becoming the Bachelorette, so of course Tommy didn't have to worry about it, and I didn't have to worry about it getting my heart broken down there. But that was the thing. So we'll see again. I hope. I don't know if professional is the right word, but I hope I just come across as just a happy-go-lucky, good sport type of guy.
See, that's why we wanted to preview your questions, and not all your questions, but just make sure you don't sound like a fool. We care about you.
Well, it's not to say that I won't sound like a fool.
Don't worry. Orange is there to be your wingman.
To guide. Now, here's the thing I'm worried about this.
To lead, guide, and direct.
If the interview's going well, and if I'm having fun, if she's laughing, if it's a good conversation, I'm not worried so much about Jason Carroll doing it because I think Jason's going to let it be. I'm worried about Orange saying something that completely deters the interview and throws off what could be confidence at the time for it going well.
And Jason may have TV cameras there. This could end up on Pig Trail Nation.
It could.
This could be the biggest moment of your career.
It could. So, but again, the only beef I will have today as we close down shop is if she doesn't come on at 4:30. And again, I will apologize on air that Zach will have for the rest of his life that I'm sorry I doubted it.
4:30 today. I think we're building this could be the biggest audience build up.
It really could be.
In Arkansas sports radio history.
There needs to be a Facebook Live of this or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to Orange. I got some equipment that I'm gonna be bringing about streaming it, so I know that hopefully that will happen. What are you laughing at?
Oh.
Do I want to stream it? I think that's
what I'm sitting there wondering.
So
maybe you want to record it and think about that. I don't know.
That's an excellent point. So again, we'll see.
It's kind of like one of them engagement deals. You might want to just kind of see how it goes and then make that call. I don't know.
Oh man, more of the Morning Rush coming up 4:30 today. Make sure you tune in.
Just say, Alexa, play ESPN Arkansas.
ESPN Arkansas from TuneIn.
This is Jay Billis of ESPN, and you're listening to The Morning Rush.
The Toyota Tundra and Toyota Tacoma. Load them up with all your favorite stuff.
Don't forget those sleeping bags.
And take off on your next epic weekend. Toyota trucks are made to go anywhere.
Hey, help me with these ATVs.
And do all the things you love doing.
Got one.
And when your day winds down, one thing is for sure.
What a day. Let's come back next weekend.
Absolutely nothing sounds better than an amazing weekend made possible by the virtually indestructible Toyota Tundra and Tacoma. Visit your local Toyota dealer or go to buyatoyota.com to find a great deal on the go anywhere, do anything 2020 Toyota Tundra or Tacoma. and start making the most of your weekends. Toyota, let's go places.
If you have experience transporting frozen and refrigerated goods and want to be part of a trucking family with insurance and be home every week, you need to contact Brent Higgins Trucking. Since 1997, Brent Higgins Trucking in Mulberry has been proudly delivering to and from various areas of the United States, including but not limited to Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Brent Higgins Trucking, where you're a name, not a number. Contact them at 479-997-2366 or at BrentHigginsTrucking.com.
Harry Robinson Buick GMC has over 200 pre-owned vehicles to choose from luxury to economy and everything in between, including over 50 great vehicles with payments under $250 a month, certain to fit your needs and your budget. And at Harry Robinson Buick GMC, you always get more for your trade. 50 vehicles with payments under $250 a month at Harry Robinson Buick GMC, Exit 11 off I-540 in Fort Smith.
Your locally owned TGI Fridays in Fort Smith is now open for dine-in, curbside to go, and delivery for both lunch and dinner, 7 days a week. TGI Fridays is taking your safety seriously, following every guideline. Enjoy Fridays favorites like appetizers, burgers, sandwiches, salads, all the great Fridays, signature entrees, kids meals, and great desserts. TGI Fridays, now open for dine-in, curbside to go, and delivery. Call 479-484-0906. That's 484-0906. Or order online at Fridays.com. Your locally owned TGI Fridays at I-540 in Rogers and Fort Smith.
Are you looking for a new place to call home? Whether you're looking for an apartment, duplex, townhome, or a house, Trinity Multifamily has you covered. They even have options in surrounding states, from Texas to Michigan and Kansas to Tennessee. If you're looking for a new place to call home, make Trinity Multifamily your first call at 479-452-1817. That's 479-452-1817. Or online at trinitymultifamily.com to search rental properties near you.
Was your roof damaged by recent storms? Don't fall victim to out-of-town contractors and fly-by-night repairmen. Trust the local roofing professionals at Able Roofing. Call their local number, 474-0006, for a free roof inspection. Never trust something as important as the roofing system on your home to a storm chaser. Able Roofing, 474-0006, will work with your insurance company. Call now for your free roof inspection, 474-0006. Able Roofing, the hometown roofers.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging. Is it time for a new printer? When looking for that new printer, you'll consider the new technology available, but also reliability, quality, cost, and access to service and supplies are important. With eConcierge from Dixie Digital and Xerox, you get free lifetime service coverage for your eligible Xerox printers, plus an easy way to order toner and ink. For more information, call Dixie Digital Imaging at 783-6600 or visit our website at dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing document innovations to the River Valley.
After I drop the kids off, I have to run across town for a meeting, hit the gym during lunch. Jake has soccer tonight, and Emily has gymnastics? Oh, did I turn on the crock pot this morning?
With a never-ending to-do list, it's easy to forget something important, like setting up a life insurance plan with Shelter Insurance. Your local Shelter agent can show you how to create a safety net for your family. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Ask Ted McAvoy in Van Buren or Jeff Clark in Fort Smith about Shelter's home insurance.
The best TV experience in the nation is available locally with personal service from WOW World of Wireless, your neighborhood professional Dish authorized retailer. Dish has the Hopper 3, the most advanced DVR, and delivers a premium viewing experience. Tired of running out of DVR space? With the Hopper 3, you can record up to 2,000 hours of your favorite programming and watch your very own favorite channels and DVR recording anywhere you go on your phone or tablet. Call now, WOW World of Wireless at 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474 for more details, or visit us online at shopwownow.com. Get the Hopper 3 today by calling WOW World of Wireless at 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474 or online at shopwownow.com.
Monthly equipment fees and other restrictions apply. Recording hours vary. 2,000 hours based on SD programming. Remote viewing requires internet connection and compatible mobile device. World of Wireless has moved just a few miles east, next to Frank Rowe Furniture in Barling.
ESPN 95.3. The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson and Tommy Kraft.
Are you a stress eater?
No, I've pretty much been an eater for a long time.
Subscribe to the Morning Rush podcast wherever podcasts are found.
Back here on the Morning Rush, want to talk about this Big 12 model that they've came out with their college football season. That's coming up. Before we do that, want to welcome in Larry Rath of Rath Auto Resources. Larry, what's going on this Wednesday, man?
Hey, good morning, guys. Hope you're having a great day and enjoying this beautiful weather. What a great time to trade in your vehicle during the summer car swap going on at Rath Auto Resources. Folks, we can save you some money, give you some extra money for your trade-in right now, and get you into something nicer and newer right now, today, at Rath Auto Resources. You know, the Meineke Car Care Center, it's there for everybody. It's how we take care of our customers. It's how we get our cars Rath road ready. But, you know, when you buy your car from Rath, you've got that great service standing behind you for the lifetime of the car. And, folks, that's a great thing to have. That Meineke Car Care Center, they get you in and out. They're fast. They're inexpensive. And a very convenient, great way to take care of your car. It really is a better way to drive. At Rath Mitsubishi in Springdale, we've got the brand new 2020 Mitsubishi Outlanders on sale, $299 a month, as low as right now at Rath Mitsubishi in Springdale. Also, they've got the Rath Road Ready used cars. And folks, you can't do better than a Rath Road Ready used car or a brand new Mitsubishi from Rath Mitsubishi in Springdale. So check us out today, folks. Come in, swap that car in, get yourself something nicer, newer. Rath Auto Resources in Fort Smith, Rath Mitsubishi in Springdale, or check us out online at rathauto.com.
That's Rath Auto Resources in both Fort Smith and Springdale. Larry, have a great rest of your Wednesday and a great rest of your week, man.
Hey, thank you. You have a good one, and folks, come and see it.
As always, we appreciate Larry hopping on with us. Let's talk about this Big 12 model that came out a little earlier this week. The conference football teams in that conference are going to play a 9+1. Now, while it's the Big 12 conference, there's only 10 teams a part of it, so they don't have an opportunity to play 10 conference games only. They can't play, I guess technically they could play a 9-game conference-only schedule, but they want to get it to 10. Now, these non-conference games, it looks like, are going to be happening first. Their season looks like it's going to start mid to late September, so we're going to see how that ends up going. But what it does is it allows these teams to play non-conference opponent. But unfortunately, with the Big Ten making their decision, the SEC making their decision, the Pac-12 making their decision, and I think the ACC, they're doing one non-conference. You're not going to see many of these big, high-profile Power 5 games. What the Big 12 has also said is they have to play these non-conference games in their home stadium. So that's going to be very interesting to see who the Big 12 schedules. I think, and Tommy and I were talking about this earlier, they're going to try and keep the money in state. Like if it's Texas, schedule a bunch of Texas schools or whatever. It's Iowa or Iowa State. That's what they're going to do. I would think that would be the smart thing, to try and keep the money, keep that model in state, to keep as much of that money as possible. Now, I don't know what's going to end up happening with their schedule, but I do think it's interesting how they've gone about that. Now, the SEC, as we've talked about, 10 games only in conference. Unfortunately, that doesn't exactly help Sam Pittman in the way that it's going to be easier to pick up a win or 2 or 3 that you're going against SEC-level competition. They've still yet to release the SEC slated schedule for what it's going to do. Now, I think a lot of you are under agreement that we're going to see a lot of the similar game times that Arkansas was already slated with their schedule. But there's the games that you're really intrigued in is the SEC East teams that are going to be added. Are you going to get Georgia? You're going to get Florida, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Kentucky. Which SEC East teams are going to get added to your schedule? You hope that they go by the strength of schedule model, because Arkansas has one, if not the toughest strength of schedule in the country, according to some publications. So you would hope that they would add in a Vanderbilt and a South Carolina. Then there's the other model that people pointed out, the next couple years model, which is Georgia and it's South Carolina. So you still get, hopefully, South Carolina in those perceived models. You really hope that you don't get Georgia, because Georgia is going to have a team this year. Whether it's JT Daniels, whether it's Jamie Newman at starting quarterback, I think George Pickens is their stud wide receiver. They always have good running backs, always have a salty defense. I know Mel Tucker's no longer there. That's going to be a tough team to play. And you don't want to play Georgia to begin with, but you really don't want to have to play them in Athens. I know there's not going to be however many thousand there in between the hedges, but that is still a tough place as a young head coach. And I say young head coach as a first-time head coach. Sam Pittman's not exactly young, in his 50s, but having to experience that type of game in that caliber. But again, you wouldn't have to play them with the full stadium. So I'm curious how these models lay out, and I know that many of you are anticipating when those come out. We should hear something. I think we're under the debate and under the we're under the assumption that the games are probably going to be announced, the upcoming schedules for the SEC, either on Friday or Monday. That's subject to change. We asked Hunter Yurchek last Thursday about that. He said the release would come within 8 to 10 days. So we'll see what ends up playing out. I would, again, anticipate it's either going to be on Friday or Monday. It's not just Arkansas, obviously. The other SEC schools are really itching to see who they're going to play. And I know many of the East schools would love to see Arkansas on their schedule based on the perception of the program and based on where it's been. Sam Pittman's already been out. He's been vocal with Hunter Yurchek and say, we're ready to play. We're ready to play these SEC games. We're excited. You can say that, but I don't think any first-year coach wants to have to go through a daunting task, much alone 8 games in the SEC. Now you have to go through 10. We'll see what happens when they release the schedule. We're brought to you by River City Bistro this morning. You got to go check it out here in Fort Smith. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm a huge fan of the patty melt. The cheese and the mayonnaise that Bruce puts on it just like melts together. It's unbelievable. You got to get the fried zucchini while you're down there. Anything you get there is going to be fantastic. I know Phil really likes the turkey Devonshire, which he got. I'm also a huge fan of their blackened chicken Alfredo. They have a fantastic steak. I'm telling you, anything you get at River City Bistro off Rogers Avenue is unbelievable. In the Stonebridge Shopping Center, the lemon Italian ice cream cake. You can't leave without it. It tops off your meal. It's a fantastic dessert. Don't leave the restaurant or you're to go without getting a lemon Italian ice cream cake. Coming up, we'll talk to Mike Golic Jr., former Notre Dame football player of ESPN Radio. He's coming up. Stay with us. It's the Morning Rush.
Arkansas's home for the best sports talk.
It does my heart good when Texas football, Texas basketball, and Texas baseball suck.
You're listening to the Morning Rush.
Are your appliances struggling? Do you need that part and not sure where to go? Mid-South Distributing has you covered with 9 locations in the Arkansas area. Appliance parts and accessories for all major brands of appliance. Mid-South Distributing has you, the customer, in mind when you're needing that part for your appliance. Mid-South Distributing. Check out midsouthparts.com to find your location near you. Mid-South Distributing. We're in your neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Bill Bolton of NWA Gold, Silver, and Coins. I started in this business in 1972 at an auction house that specialized in antique and estate jewelry, sterling silver, and coins. In that time, I've seen gold go from $35 an ounce to today's price of $1,683. I want to talk to you about the coins you may have inherited and how important it is to deal with someone who understands coins and this market. In 2011, we had a mother and daughter come into our store and sell us a lot of jewelry they no longer wore for $3,300. The daughter then pulled out an 1850 California $10 gold piece. Jeremy offered her $900 and she accepted his offer. He then advised her to have this coin graded. She did, and she sold it for $36,000. If you don't know what you have, please come see Jeremy in our Bentonville store. Don't sell it at an auction or an estate sale and get less money. What's in your safety deposit box could be worth thousands. NWA Gold, Silver, and Coins, Bentonville, Fayetteville.
Joe's Grill and Cantina is making Saturdays even better with $1 tacos and $1 specialty draft beers. You can't go wrong with Taco Saturdays and specialty draft beers for just $1, plus $3 margaritas every day. Joe's Grill and Cantina, making your Saturdays even better with $1 tacos and $1 specialty draft beers. $1 tacos and $1 draft beers every Saturday at Joe's Grill and Cantina, 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps.
Than blazes outside. But you don't have to stop, drop, and roll to beat this heat, because right now you can shop, swap, and roll into a nicer, newer car. Hi, folks. Larry Rath here from Rath Auto Resources. I've teamed up with dealers nationwide to launch an end-of-summer car swap, where you can swap your current car for one of our Rath road-ready vehicles, each one hand-picked and inspected in our Meineke Car Care Center. Even if you're still making payments, and regardless of age, mileage, or condition, you can stop by with your current ride and swap it for a nicer, newer car today. Plus, Rath Auto Resources has payments that work with almost any budget. So come on down to Rath Auto Resources, the only local dealer participating in the end-of-summer car swap. Keeping the car you have, let us get it ready for summer in our Meineke Car Care Center with free AC checks, half-off brakes, and buy 3, get 1 free on all tires. Only at Arkansas's favorite used car dealer, Rath Auto Resources, and the Meineke Car Care Center, where you can shop, swap, and roll into a nicer, newer car today. Come see us at 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith, or online, rathauto.com.
Frank Rowe Furniture's August back-to-school sale. In August, huge discounts on all furniture and mattress to our finance and cash customers. Just come in, pick out your furniture, and ask, what's my discount? Also in August, Frank Rowe Furniture is giving away a leather sectional 100% made in the USA by Best Home Furnishings. Must come in to register, but no need to be present to win. Sectional will be given away August 31st at 4:30 p.m. Frank Rowe Furniture, 405 4th Street, Barling, Arkansas. Best seats in the house.
Hi, this is Melissa with True Grit Running Company. It's a difficult time right now, and social distancing is vitally important. That's why I'm here to encourage you to keep running. It's a great way to exercise in solitude, build up your immune system, and keep from going stir-crazy. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for more tips on how to take care of yourself during this time. And remember, just keep running. This has been brought to you by True Grit Running Company, 6808 Rogers Avenue, Suite B, behind Chick-fil-A.
To feel the calming effects of nature, take a deep breath. In and out. Every breath makes you feel closer to nature, and every sip makes nature feel closer to you. Michelob Ultra Pure Gold. Beer in its organic form.
Did you know that you can get your car serviced or repaired without ever leaving your house? All you have to do is call Jody's Auto Service Center at 479-649-3399. Jody's will pick up your vehicle, service or repair it for you, and return it fully disinfected to your driveway. Pickup and delivery is free for jobs $75 or more. Jobs less than $75 can be picked up and returned for a $10 fee. Let Jody's Auto Service Centers handle all your service and vehicle repair needs. Call 479-649-3399. Jody's Auto Service Center.
River City Bistro is Fort Smith's favorite place for lunch and dinner. Open 7 days a week, both on the open-air patio and air-conditioned dining room for your safety and comfort. River City Bistro is locally owned and open weekdays 11 to 8, Saturdays 10 to 8, and Sundays 10 till 3. Want River City Bistro curbside to go? Just search on Facebook or Instagram for River City Bistro or go to rcbistro.com. River City Bistro, 7320 Rogers Avenue in the Stonewood Village Shopping Center.
ESPN 95.3. The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson and Tommy Kraft.
Golic Jr. of ESPN Radio. Mike, I was going to say Golic and Wingo, but man, you got a new show coming up.
Yeah, no, Chinang Golic Jr. is going to be a good time. It is a total lifestyle change for me. I go from doing a morning show, waking up at 4:30 Eastern every day and hanging out with my dad, Trey Wingo, who were awesome, and getting to do a show with my dad was a dream come true. I'll never top that. But now going into the afternoon, getting to sleep in, and doing a show with someone who age-wise is a peer of mine is going to be a huge change for me, and certainly one that's exciting in a lot of ways.
You wake up about the same time I do. I got an alarm set for 4:20. I'm out of bed by 4:30. The adjustment. I know my sleep schedule on weekends, man, I can't sleep past 6 or 7. What do you think that adjustment is going to be like for your sleep schedule coming up?
You know what? It's going to be welcome. Like at this point at 30, I keep telling myself, you know, Dad for 22 years had his alarm go off at that same time. And while he's right, you never fully get used to it. For him, that it becomes so ingrained in his lifestyle at that point. You know, for me, that alarm's been going off like that, you know, and sometimes even earlier for the last 5 years. And so I feel like I hopefully have time to break the habit and maybe start having, you know, somewhat normal human hours in all this. But every day I've been off since the end of the show, I've still probably been up at 6:30 or 7 o'clock at the latest. And hell, I mean, like you said, based off our shared alarm, that feels like sleeping in already.
Talking with Mike Golic Jr. here of ESPN Radio. Mike, I know Arkansas fans were really excited about the potential to go to South Bend this upcoming season. Unfortunately, because of the coronavirus, it's not going to happen. Tell us about what a game day atmosphere is like in South Bend, Indiana.
It really is incredible. And we had the good fortune of getting to talk to Hunter Yurachek on Golic and Wingo a few times. And I think between him and Jack Swarbrick, there's enough shared desire to make this happen for everyone involved. I mean, it's why you put it on the schedule to begin with. And so for Notre Dame and Arkansas, two very well-known brands around college football, to get to do this would be awesome. South Bend is great because it's different, and I think it's really improved even since the stadium renovations happened. Obviously, you've got all of the history and prestige around campus. I always tell people to hit the main landmarks, go to the Dome, go to the Basilica, go to the Grotto, because that's exactly where I go back there. You know, I had buddies who would come up and play on other teams who would always say, if you're not careful, you can hear the ghosts. And a lot of people and a lot of coaches will warn their players about that coming up, because you don't want to let the folklore, you don't want to let all of the history be the thing that distracts you from going up there and trying to play a football game. But as a fan, to get to take all that in, and now with what they've done in the stadium, the Jumbotron, the game day atmosphere that's helped curate, it's all turned it into something that holds on to the tradition of Notre Dame while providing that modern atmosphere. Looking at the stadium itself is kind of a great example of that, because from the outside, they always made sure from the outside of the stadium that you can see through to the original brick stadium on the inside before the renovation that took place in the 90s and before the renovation that took place now. So you can always have a direct line of sight to the literal house that Rockne built.
You were talking about with Jack Swarbrick, the Notre Dame athletic director, and Hunter Yurachek, the Arkansas athletic director, when hopefully we eventually make our way up north, up to Indiana. I've been told Rocco's, I've been told the linebacker. Where do I have to go that weekend to go eat or drink?
Yeah, I think those are going to be two of the heavy hitters right there, certainly. The linebacker is sort of the bar of choice for all Notre Dame alumni. If you're looking for maybe some of the student experience, CJ's and Finney's might offer you that downtown, but I would say the linebacker is tried and true. It is Notre Dame Americana and all that. Rocco's is the pizza of choice around that area, certainly. I would also say, like, right in that same vein, O'Rourke's is right next to campus, and it's a little bit newer, but it's an Irish pub, and it's done a really good job of becoming a real staple of the game day atmosphere around Notre Dame and in the time leading up to that one, though. So I would say all of those, you really can't go wrong in that area. Legends on campus might have a sandwich on the menu named after the Golic family, so I'm always willing to publicly endorse that one, but there really are some nice spots there, and they've made a lot of them within walking distance to campus, which is awesome, or stumbling if you're going to the linebacker.
Mike Golic Jr., ESPN Radio, with us on the Morning Rush. Mike, there is a lot of different experiences that you can take in a Notre Dame football game. You had the opportunity as a college football player to go to multiple different venues. If you had to pick another venue that you think stands out amongst the rest, what is it, Mike?
You know what? I had a great time, and we were super fortunate. Notre Dame had a home-and-home against Oklahoma that started my fifth-year senior year. And so we got to go down and play at Norman. It was a night game. College game day was there. We were both highly ranked at the time. You know, it was Landry Jones and Kenny Stills were the real studs on that offense at that point in time. Bob Stoops had lost like 5 home games in his entire career. The whole place is striped in their colors. Fireworks at kickoff and everything. It helps that we went down there and beat them pretty good, but I just remember thinking what a unique game day atmosphere that was. What a great job they did of creating an environment that was hostile. I remember that first third down, having a look at the guys next to me, having a look at Braxton Cave, our center, and ask a couple of times for the snap count on that one and try and make sure we had all that buttoned up for that first blitz package on third down that I might have given up a pressure on. So I thought they did a really good job of that in a place that we didn't get to play but once when I was there, but left a really great impact.
I'm curious, when you hear the words Arkansas football, now this past decade hasn't really been kind, especially the latter half of the decade. Mike, what first pops into your mind when you hear the term Razorback football?
Hog mollies, I think a lot of the remnants of like Brett Bielema and the stuff that like just that ethos of, you know, the hog on the side of the helmet, but big, powerful offensive linemen. I think underrated quarterback play too. When you talk about both Allens, like I think in that instance, I know that the fan base was pretty critical of them during their time period there, but I thought those were guys that produced probably better than they got credit for there. Certainly had to deal with a lot in their time as quarterbacks there, but you know, Arkansas struggled as of late. That's a program that's trying to really figure out and get its way going forward in a lot of that. So I think from a national perspective, they've got a long way to go in all that one, but they've certainly had great brand recognition, really with the mascot and the size of their linemen going into this one, and I think they would probably be shooting for a little more than that going forward.
Mike, I want to talk to you about offensive line play coming up as we close out, but you bring up the Allen brothers. Brandon got his truck burned down. What is the worst thing that happened to you during your playing days at Notre Dame? Did anyone cause any disruptive behavior to some of your personal item? He got his truck burned down, man.
Yeah, that always stuck out to me as pretty insane in a lot of this for a quarterback that was doing pretty well on a bad team, all things considered. But I never had anything like that. Unfortunately, college football does have that seedy underbelly. I had quarterbacks on our team that got death threats after bad games and stuff like that. At certain times, people forget what we're watching as a game, and no one is going to die based off the outcome. But it does feel like that. But no, yeah, I remember that with the car and everything that went along with it. So hopefully we're past that now. As we turn the page and get ready to start the Sam Pittman era of all this, I'm hopeful that we can, all kind of go along with his general ethos. Sam, just in following and watching the Georgia offensive line and that program for so many years, seems like as good a guy as you're going to find, and certainly someone that is, at the very least, from the hog molly perspective that I'm associated with, someone that I think has a pretty good future ahead of him. So let's not light any cars on fire now.
You bring up Sam Pittman. As a former offensive lineman, Sam Pittman is regarded as one of the best in the country, if not the best in the country when it comes to that position group. What takeaways do you have from him with his so many former players moving on to the NFL, and what do you think we can expect from Sam Pittman and the trenches at Arkansas?
Yeah, so I think certainly with any offensive line coach as your head coach, attention to detail is going to be there because the position is such a foreign skill set, right? Everything else in football outside of defensive back play and offensive line play is a natural skill set. We all grew up running, tackling, throwing, doing stuff like that, but backpedaling and blocking and all of the things associated with pass protection are a learned skill. So attention to detail for O-line coaches, especially one the caliber of Sam. You mentioned the job he did churning out pros at Georgia. I always said, even if you're not a former offensive lineman and you want to watch and you see the same things across the board, when you see guys putting their hat and hands in the same spot consistently regardless of position, when the steps look like they're in unison, that always points back to coaching, when you can get 5 guys to buy into what you're telling them. And Sam and those Georgia offensive lines were always such a consistent product, even before you had first-round talent like you have in the last couple of years with Isaiah Wynn and the tackles that they've put out there. And certainly the interior guys haven't been a slouch either. So I just think what he's been able to build there consistently with technique, which is the hardest thing to do as an offensive line coach, but they're always finishers as that unit. That was always a group that you knew was going to be downfield, diving over piles, trying to finish guys through the echo of the whistle. And when you're coming in and trying to reignite a program, those are the kind of things that get people fired up when you see it put on tape. Those are the kind of things that even as the team struggles in the transition, he's going to be able to point to, the team's going to be able to rally around. And I think having those as the bedrock of a program is usually always a pretty good starting point.
Mike, last question before we let you go, man. Just your overall opinion on what happens with college football this season.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to deal with some of the problems Major League Baseball's dealt with, where you're probably going to see conferences have certain teams that are going to have to forfeit because of a rash of positive tests. You're going to see kind of an inconsistent conference slate. Since everyone's gone conference only, some teams are going to end up playing more games in conference than less based on where their conference lies geographically, where the surrounding spikes are, and based on, honestly, the resources of the schools in question. We've seen plenty of places, like we mentioned, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, and others who have a ton of resources to be able to test their players and staff often, having a good time so far, being able to contain that. Getting students back on campus is going to be a wild card, but I think it's going to be choppy and inconsistent. I think they're going to fight like hell to finish it with the spring as the ultimate backup plan, fail-safe emergency. And I think it's going to give us, some version of a finish here, probably a champion that people will dispute if we get to that point. But you're going to have to be willing to kind of stomach a lot of change. All of us are, in the name of seeing if this thing gets off the ground.
Mike Golic Jr., ESPN Radio, new show coming out later this month. Mike, appreciate you making some time for us on the Morning Rush, man.
Nah, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
good stuff from Mike Golic Jr. there this morning. I know that many of you were looking forward to that Notre Dame game, but based on what he said, based on what Eric Hansen said, based on the other Notre Dame people that have come out and said, it looks like there's not only some interest from the Arkansas side of things, but from Notre Dame and Jack Swarbrick, who is their athletic director, rescheduling that game, which I know all of you want to see happen. Again, today, 4:30, we're going to see what happens. Zach Arns has apparently booked Madison Pruitt. For those who don't know who that is, she's on The Bachelor. I would say she's probably one of, if not my biggest crush out there. So we're going to see how that interview goes. I have prepped for it. I hope it goes well. It's either going to be 20 minutes of really funny. Well, it's going to be funny either way. It's either going to be a great implosion, Jenkins, or it's going to be a solid interview.
Could be the best moment of your life or the worst moment of your life.
So,
but the best moment for everybody listening.
But what do? We learn from our mistakes. So even if it goes poorly or horribly today, hopefully I will be able to learn from that nevertheless. Good stuff today. We'll have that in the podcast for you, Ken McPherson and Mike Golic Jr. as well. For Matt Jenkins, Tommy Kraft, and Ty Richardson, don't spend life sitting in your hands on Wednesday. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Tommy Kraft for the Fence Man. If you've always wanted powered automatic gates at your home or business, but you didn't know who to call, let me tell you about the Fence Man. 479